welcome back to isbhpk San Antonio, Sword of Truth. And we want to welcome you to another class. And this topic today is called the Most High's Creatures, Celestial, Terrestrial, and Mythical. All right, now I don't think we'll be able to get through all of this. Probably have to finish this in 2 parts. But first and foremost, shout out to our brothers and sisters that watch. Y'all can cut your phones down a little bit. Shout out to our brothers and sisters that watch online, and also to water for everybody that came and that's attending class in person. Shout out to you as well. And we ask the Most High that, you know, to use us as vessels to edify the body of Christ and to get this truth spread out amongst the 4 corners of the world, of the globe. So we want all of our people that scattered throughout the north, south, east, and west, specifically of Negro and Indian descent, Black, Hispanic, Native American, to wake up to the truth that you are the children of God, and the Most High has a calling for you, and His desires that you return back to Him. So with that, we want to say shalom. Shout out to our brothers in ISBHPK, Houston, Virginia, New York, California, brothers out in Atlanta. Shout out to Kawakam in Guatemala, Amiatazan in London. Shout out to all our brothers and sisters that are affiliated with us and that participate in this fight to extend the gospel as much as possible, which we know that this truth is most definitely expanding. And this, especially now with the help of the internet, social media, there's a lot of camps, a lot of choices, a lot of classes. There's a whole lot of things that are edifying to the body, but also there's a lot of nonsense out there too as well. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of false prophets that are calling themselves. We got another Judite version of the Edomite dude that was in Waco, the Branch Davidian compound. What's his name? David Koresh.
David Koresh, yeah.
We got a brother, a Judite brother that's calling himself the Messiah right now, walking around, going through the streets and the camps, hitting camps up, talking about he's the Messiah. But we're not giving that no airplay, because we know in the last days, we know false prophets was going to come. Matter of fact, if you can give me 1 John, is it Hebrews, where he says
Anything especially the circumcision?
No, I want Hebrews. It might be 1 John. When he say try the Spirit by the Spirit.
I think Hebrews.
Let me see.
My fault. No, 1 John 4.
It is 1 John. It is 1 John.
No, bro, we're not gonna get this guy.
Yeah, I'm not giving this guy no airplay, bro. 1 John 4. 1 John 4. Start at verse 1 real quick.
Come. 1 John chapter 4, verse 1 reads, Beloved, believe not every spirit.
It says, Beloved, believe not what?
Every spirit.
There's all kind of information on the internet that, like I said, there's people talking about they the Messiah right now. He said, brother, believe not every spirit, but this dude got tattoos and he smoked weed. Read.
But try the spirits, whether they are of the Most High. Because many false prophets.
And it said, because what?
Many false prophets.
There's a lot of disinformation going on in amongst the community, so-called conscious community, Israelite community. Go ahead. Many false prophets. Go ahead.
Because many false prophets are gone out into the world.
Go ahead.
Hereby know ye the Spirit of the Most High. Every spirit that confesseth that Yahweh Shai is come in the flesh is of the Most High.
Go ahead.
And every spirit,
and these particular individuals are saying that Christ hadn't come yet. It's all prophetic, for these particular. I'm not even gonna say his name, but he's saying Christ ain't come yet. But but he said this is how you know if they false Christ, false prophets. Read on.
And every spirit that confesseth not that Yahweh Shai is come in the flesh is not of the Most High.
So obviously this individual, this Judite brother, so-called Negro, calling himself the Messiah, is not acknowledging that Christ came in the flesh. He's talking about he is the embodiment of the prophecy of Christ. Foolishness, man. He said it's not of the Most High. Read on.
Come. And this is that spirit of Antichrist.
He said, and this is the spirit of what?
Antichrist.
That's why it's so important that you get as much understanding and the much truth of the knowledge of the Bible first before you go walk and believe in just whatever you see on the internet. The internet can take you so many different directions with so many different doctrines, so much information, misinformation, disinformation. Like I said, it can get you lost. A lot of people saying a lot of false things about the Bible. And if you don't have a heavy foundation in the Bible, then you can be easily swayed.
You're done.
And you're in trouble. There's a lot of foolishness in the world going on right now.
I'll pull a couple one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Titus chapter 1, verse 10. Titus chapter 1 and verse 10. I know what you're saying, bro. I've experienced the same thing the past couple of days ago, bro. It's almost like that spirit's back. Like
let it heat up. Mm-hmm.
Yes, like the spirit is intensifying of just false concepts and false doctrines.
Come on.
Let's turn it up again.
Titus chapter 1, verse 10.
Titus 1 and 10.
For there are many unruly, and vain talkers.
There are many unruly and what?
Vain talkers.
And vain talkers. They're speaking and their conversation and their understanding leads to nothingness. It's empty words, and it has nothing to do with your salvation. Their concepts have no benefit to your spiritual salvation. Read.
It says, and deceivers.
And deceivers, taking your mind from the foundation of the scriptures. Read.
Especially those. It says, especially they of the circumcision.
Especially, Most High is giving he's hyphenating something. He's highlighting something.
Mm-hmm.
Especially they of the what?
Of the circumcision.
Especially the so-called Jews, huh?
Yeah, the ones that have knowledge.
They have knowledge.
Right. You gotta try the spirit by the spirit. But you gotta know the spirit. You gotta be spiritually discerned. That's why you have to make your obligation studying at all times, as much as possible. So you don't believe any false antichrist coming out right now. It's a whole lot of them.
Yeah.
Billy Carson included.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and get started with the topic of the class. Just wanted to bring that out. Topic of the class is called the Most High's Creatures. All right. And this class was by request. And it should be easy to understand. The objective, of course, is that to make it as easy to swallow as possible. It was by request, and I said I was going to do it. Someone asked that we go over the Most High creatures, both celestial, angelic, terrestrial, earthly, and mythical. Because when you get into Leviathan and Job, you get into the behemoth, a lot of people have a lot of unknown, there's a lot of question marks on what those creatures were, And eventually we'll get to those individual creatures, along with the angelic beings. We'll get to them as well. But first we got to start off and break it down, point by point. So first and foremost, let's go to the beginning. Let's start off at Genesis chapter 1, and let's read verse 1. Yeah, whoever got it.
Whoever got it.
So this was by request, so we're going to do this by request. And hopefully by the end of this topic, whether we finish it today or next Wednesday, it'll be easily understood, and you have a healthy knowledge of the Most High's creation. All right? Let's start with that. Genesis chapter 1, verse 1.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, the Most High created the heaven and the earth.
So in the beginning, the Most High created what?
The heaven and the earth.
And if you're new to the Bible, this might be good for you too. This might encompass a large portion of the scriptures and in a short amount of time, hopefully. And to get a lot of understanding in a small moment. But so for those that may have not read Genesis or read, through the Bible, it's good if you're a new student. Good, this is great. It might be good if you're not a new student and you might have some familiarity with the scriptures. It might still be good for you as well, hopefully. All right. So we're starting off at the beginning. Genesis means the beginning. All right. So read that again.
Genesis 1, verse 1. In the beginning, the Most High created the heaven and the earth.
So in the beginning, the Most High created what?
The heaven and the earth.
Now, when you read this, read it like you see it in the Bible. I want you to read it like you see it. Read it again.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
Then there's a reason I want you to read it that way, because some people that don't know the Bible don't know what this means. Because when you actually look this up, technically, this God that's in the Bible, it has a Hebrew meaning and connotation to it. And we'll get to that's why I say read it like you see it. Read it one more time.
God, Genesis 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
So there was two dynamics created. What are they, class? The heaven and the earth. So the two dynamics created in the beginning was what?
Heaven and
Heaven and the earth. All right. Hold that. Next, brother, go to 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 40 real quick. Yes, 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 40. And I'm going to try to go through it quickly without losing any understanding. All right? 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 40. It's a lot of scriptures.
Come. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 40 reads, there are also celestial bodies.
So when you read the Bible, you find out that in the beginning there was a variety of bodies created. There's more than one type of spirit, what type of entity created. There's multiple entities created. All right? And it says there are what?
There are also celestial bodies.
So there's more than one body created. There's celestial bodies. That definition of celestial. Anybody got it? If you don't, I have it. Celestial means belonging to heaven. Belonging to heaven, heavenly, as celestial spirits. All right, you got that? As celestial spirits. So celestial meaning heavenly, belonging to heaven, as celestial spirits. All right? Everybody got that?
Well, this says celestial bodies.
Right, celestial bodies meaning heavenly bodies.
Same thing as heavenly spirit.
Yes, heavenly spirits.
Okay.
So there's read it one more time.
There are also celestial bodies.
So remember, there's two dynamics. There's celestial bodies,
Right.
celestial spirits, right? And then there's what?
And bodies terrestrial.
And there's bodies what?
Terrestrial.
Terrestrial. Definition, anybody got it? If you don't, I got it. Terrestrial. Pertaining to the earth. Existing on the earth. Which is who?
Earth.
Which is who? That's us.
Humans.
That's us. That's humans. Huh? Us humans. The human race, mankind, animal kingdom. These are bodies that are what?
terrestrial.
Terrestrial. Tierra, right? Tierra in Spanish is what? Earth. Tierra. Dirt. Dirt. Okay, perfect. Dirt. Who's made from dirt? Mankind. So he said there's bodies. So the Bible's showing you that in creation there's more than one type of body created. He said there's bodies celestial, there's heavenly spirits, celestial spirits, pertaining to heaven. Then there's terrestrial. These are bodies that pertain to what? Earth. So we understand that. Is that too complicated? Not too complicated, right?
I thought we had spirits.
We do. So, but we're made out of dirt, but we're made of two parts. One portion of us is flesh, and the other part is spirit. We're made of two compositions. So when the spirit leaves, what happens to the body? It goes back to what? Goes back to the dirt. So what the body is nothing more than the tabernacle of the soul. That is the house that the soul dwells in. So when that soul is gone out of that house goes back to its original form.
Thus being terrestrial.
Us being terrestrial.
Okay.
All right? We got that? All right. Read that one more time, my Willa.
There are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial. But the glory of the celestial is one.
It says, but it's different. There's the heavenly bodies, the heavenly spirits are different from what?
Terrestrial.
From the terrestrial spirits. All right? So we understand that. Two different dynamics. Let that go. Let's go back to Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, and read it like you see it.
God. Genesis chapter 1 and verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
All right? He said God created what?
The heaven and the earth.
So when you read this in Hebrew, it doesn't say God created. It says the Alahayim. In ancient Hebrew, it would be Alahayim. Paleo Hebrew. In Yiddish, it would be Elohim. All right? What that means is the powers or the angelic beings. All right? Write that down. It would be Alahayim. In the ancient Hebrew, Elohim in Yiddish, and it means the powers, the angels, or the godlike one. The godlike one. All right? We got that? Write that down.
Elohim is Yiddish.
Yeah, Elohim.
Elohim.
Elohim. Because you'll see it written in Yiddish, it says Elohim. But in ancient Hebrew, it's Alahayim. It means the powers or angels. or the God-like one. So they just say it a little different. All right? It just means the powers. That's what the word means. Alahayim. It means the powers. So read it one more time with that understanding.
God. Genesis 1 verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep.
All right, so now let's go to Colossians chapter 1 and verse 12. Whoever got it.
So the Most High made heaven and earth. The Most High made celestial and terrestrial, right? Spirits.
Yep,
Colossians 1 and
12.
Colossians chapter 1 verse 12.
Shalom, everybody online. Shalom, brothers and sisters online. Shout out to the isbhpk brothers out there. Welcome to class. Let's get that.
Colossians chapter 1, verse 12. Giving thanks unto the Father,
They say, giving thanks unto the Father. Read on.
which hath made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance.
It says,
of the saints.
it says the Most High made us equal to be what?
Partakers of the inheritance of the saints in light,
Read on.
who hath delivered us from the power of darkness,
Read on.
and hath translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son.
So if we do everything that the Most High requires, keeping His commandments, following the footsteps of Christ, He says we get to be translated where?
Unto the kingdom of his dear Son.
So we get to be translated out of this terrestrial platform to where?
The kingdom.
The kingdom. Right. So we understand that, right? Read on.
Verse 14. In whom we have redemption through his blood, even the forgiveness of sins.
Right. We get to be redeemed back to Christ if we repent from our sins, and we get to go back and translate it out of the terrestrial form into the celestial. Right? We have that ability to translate. Read on.
Verse 15. Who is the image.
And who is Christ?
The
image.
image
Of who?
of the invisible power.
The invisible power or visible God, right? He is the image of the invisible God. Remember what Alahayim means. What does Alahayim mean? It means powers, angels, and what? The God-like one. So who is the God-like one? Who is the one that's like God? Christ. Christ is the God-like one. Right? We got that? Read it again. Read that verse 12 again. Verse 15 again.
Colossians chapter 1 verse 15. Who is the image of the invisible power, the firstborn of every creature.
So the spirit that was in the beginning, when it says in Genesis, and God created heaven and the earth, that God-like one was Christ. Christ was the what?
He said the image of the invisible power, the firstborn.
He is the what?
The firstborn
Of what?
of every creature.
Christ was the first thing created by the Most High, even before heaven and earth was created.
Wow. They teach us that in church.
Huh? What'd you say?
I said, why do they teach that in church?
I have no idea, bro. Christ was created before the heaven and earth. Christ was the first thing that the Most High ever created.
Wow.
That's why he's the only one. Bro.
That's why he's the God-like one. He's the one like the Most High.
He just wasn't put on earth. He was still in heaven.
No, he was before heaven and earth.
That's amazing, bro. That's amazing, bro.
Oh, okay.
You understand? He was before heaven and earth.
That's powerful.
It says he is the image of the invisible God or invisible power, the firstborn of what?
Every creature.
Stop right there.
That's
Get the
cool.
definition of creature. 1828. He's the firstborn of every creature. Write this down. Creature, definition. 1828. Give me the first definition of creature in 1828. Give me the 5th, 6th, and 7th. All right?
5th, 6th, and 7th.
Yeah, the first one, the 5th one, 6th, and 7th. Read those.
5th, kind.
Creature, 1828 Webster Dictionary, reads, that which is created.
It says who was the first thing that the Most High created? Who was the firstborn of every creature? The primary. Christ. That which is what?
That which is created.
It says that which is created. Go ahead.
Every being besides the creator.
It says every being besides who?
The creator.
So every being that's not the Most High is a creature. Christ is the first creature ever created. Yes, sir.
So you're assuming that because
No, I'm not assuming that.
No.
okay. Well, you
But
know
he'll
that
prove it out.
you know that no. I'm not. I'm just trying to learn, but you know that because when it says that He created heaven and earth, that's automatically there was creatures within heaven and earth, but He was the first.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
He was the first with the Most High. In the beginning, in the midst of creation. But before creation started,
Okay.
and it happened, and he commenced and gave the word that before he said, "Let there be light."
Okay.
You know, who was with the Most High was Christ. We're gonna prove it. We're gonna prove it. I know it's brand new. As
It is.
odd as it may sound, it's been in the Bible the whole time.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
What else you got?
That which is created, every being besides the Creator, or everything not self-existent, the sun, moon,
Crazy.
stars, the earth, animals, plants, lights, darkness, air, water, are the creatures of the Most High.
You got the fifth, sixth, and seventh definition.
Come. That which is produced,
Go ahead.
formed, or imagined
Go ahead.
as a creature of the imagination.
So the Most High created Christ first, out of everything. Out of everything that was ever created, Christ was number one. Read.
6. A person who owes his rise and fortune to another.
Go ahead.
One who is made to be what he is.
Go ahead.
A dependent. A person who is subject to the will or influence of another.
So Christ always says, "I do not mine own will." He said, "But I do the will of who?
My Father,
My Father who
which
sent
is
me."
in heaven. Yeah.
Right. So Christ always says, "I'm dependent upon what?" Read that seventh definition
A
again.
dependent. A person who is subject to the will or influence of another.
So Christ has always subjected himself to the will and influence of who?
Correct.
Of the Most High. All right. So we understand who was the first creature ever created? Christ. All right. Which we call in without understanding we call Christ, but his Hebrew name is Yahweh Shai. All right. So let's go back to 1 Corinthians. Hold that. And let's go back to Genesis chapter 1, verse 2 one more time.
Come. Genesis chapter 1 and verse 2. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon
Now,
the face.
read verse 1 and 1.
God. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
So God created who?
The heaven and the earth.
But who was there creating the heaven and the earth? Christ. It was Christ and who else? The angels. It was Christ and the angels. All right? So, but first, who was first before the angels? Christ was. Christ was before the angels. We have to let that be known. Christ was before the angels. Let's go to Mark chapter 1, verse 11.
So wasn't the Most High that
It was.
created?
Yeah, no, the Most High gave the word.
Okay.
Christ and the angels executed.
Okay.
All right? Give me that. Mark chapter 1, verse 11.
Come. Mark chapter 1, verse 11 reads, And there came a voice from heaven, saying, Thou art my beloved Son.
It said there was a voice that came from heaven that said what?
Thou art my beloved Son.
They said, Thou art my beloved Son. That word beloved means agapitos. All right? Agapitos in the Greek. That word agapitos means beloved, esteemed, dear, favorite, worthy of love. So when you hear the word, Thou art my beloved Son, what was the Most High declaring of Christ?
My favorite Son.
He was my what?
Favorite
He was my favorite Son. He created Christ as the firstborn of every creature. He was the Most High's favorite. Read that again.
Come. Mark chapter 1, verse 11 reads, And there came a voice from heaven, saying, Thou art my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased.
It says whom I am well pleased. The Most High is pleased with who? Christ. With his son. All right. Give me Luke chapter 1, verse 19. Give me Luke chapter 1, verse 19.
Luke chapter 1, verse 19.
So that word agapitos means what? Beloved. Which means what? Worthy of love and also favorite.
Agapitos, like
Yeah.
Spanish?
No, like Greek.
Oh, it's the same. Latin, still Latin. Oh, okay. Sound is spelled. Okay.
Yeah, the agapitos. I sound Spanish.
Yeah,
It sounds just like Spanish. Go ahead.
Agrippa.
It was Luke 1 and 1. I'm so sorry.
You're in Luke 1 and 19.
Luke chapter 1, verse 19. And the angel,
Yep, just like agape. Go ahead.
and the angel answering said unto him,
Go ahead.
I am Gabriel.
He said, I am what?
Gabriel.
Go ahead. Who is Gabriel? Gabriel means what? Gabar ya Allah. Gabar means what?
Warrior.
Warrior. Allah means what?
Power.
Power. Warrior of the power. God's warrior, right?
It's powerful.
Warrior of God. So that's what Gabriel means. So he said, I am Gabriel. Read on. Gabar ya Allah. Read on.
That stand in the presence of the Most High.
And so we also know that other angels stand where?
In the presence of the Most High.
So in the beginning, it was Christ first, and then there was angels that also stand where?
In the presence of the Most High.
Read on.
And am sent to speak unto thee.
He said, I'm sent to speak unto you. At this time, this is the parents of John the Baptist. All right? So they got a message from Gabriel, Gabar ya Allah, the warrior of God, sending a message. An angel sending a message to who? Read on.
And to show thee these glad tidings.
And to show you good things, good news, to give you good news. All right? We understand that. So we know that in the beginning, it's who? It's Christ and who else? And the angels. All right?
Or the powers.
Or the powers. Alahayim. All right? Let's go back to Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 and 2. One more time.
God. Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
And so we know that God is who? Alahayim, the powers. It was Christ. It was Christ that created what? And the angels that created what?
The heaven and the earth.
They were there before the heaven and the earth was created. And who was number one?
Christ.
Christ was, right? John 1 and 1.
St. John.
Yes, sir.
St. John chapter 1 and verse 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God.
It says, in the beginning was what?
Was the Word.
In the beginning was the Word. And that word is not lowercase. That word is what?
Capital.
It's capital. Meaning what? It's talking about somebody, a person, place, a thing. It's talking about Christ. In the beginning was the Word. That word is Christ. Read on.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God.
And the Word was with the Most High. Go ahead.
And the Word was God.
And the Word was God, right? Because what words were Christ speaking? The Most High's words. So let's go to St. John chapter 17 just to expound on this point. Let's go to St. John chapter 17 and read verse 5.
So you're saying in the beginning was the Word, but not the Word. The Word, capital.
Yes.
Person, place, or thing.
That word is Christ.
Christ. Okay.
Come. St. John chapter 17 verse 5 reads, And now, O Father, glorify thou me with thine own self.
Now this is a prayer that Christ is praying to the Most High. He said, restore me back the glory that I once had. What glory did he have?
Another glory. It's another glory.
No, not another glory. What
Former
glory?
glory.
What? Yes, his former glory. What former glory did he have?
Yes.
You're talking about the differences between the celestial and the terrestrial.
Yes. But where was he in the celestial? He was with the Most High. So read it one more time.
Come. St. John chapter 17 verse 5 reads, "And now, O Father, glorify thou me with thine own self with the glory which I had with thee before the world was."
Which I what?
Which I had.
Which I had with thee before the world was.
He says, put me back in that position that you had me at in the beginning before the world was ever created.
Before heaven and what?
Earth. So Christ is praying to the Most High, put me back where you had me at before you put me on this earth.
So he had to be the firstborn creature then.
He was the firstborn creature.
Capital W.
He was the Word.
Yeah. Bad.
Why did he ever change?
He had a mission to do. He had a mission to do on earth.
Oh, okay.
But where was he at before that? Before he was brought to earth.
Obviously with the Most High.
He was with the Most High. Read it one more time.
Con.
Who, somebody had their hand up? Yes.
So why is the word translated different in the language? Is that way capitalized? Is that different meaning?
No, if you read on down in John, it'll make it clear that it's talking about Christ. It's just a title that Christ is known as. But he'll if you read on down, all the way down, it'll show you that the word was talking about Christ. We can do that just to be clear, especially for those that are brand new or have any questions about it, so that there's no doubt when he's talking about, when you read John 1, he's talking about the word, he's equivalating that to Christ. We will read down just so that there's no confusion. But I just want to bring one point out on John 1 and 1. It says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So Christ in John 17 is praying to the Father. What? Read it one more time, my Willa.
"And now, O Father, glorify thou me."
He said, put me back, give me back, restore me to my former glory. Read.
"Glorify thou me with thine own self, with the glory which I had with thee before the world was."
He says, put me back and give me back the glory that I had with you before the world was ever created. Before the world was. Who was with the Most High before the world was ever fashioned?
Christ.
Before animals, mountains, sun, moon, and stars were ever created.
Christ.
It was Christ. Christ is asking the Most High in his prayer to put him back where he was at. With the Father. All right? Let that go, and let's go back to St. John chapter 1, and let's read verse 2.
St. John chapter 1 and verse 2. The same was in the beginning.
It said what?
The same was in the beginning.
This word, which we know is who?
Christ.
Christ, was where?
Was in the beginning.
He was where?
In the beginning.
He was in Genesis. Genesis means what?
Beginning.
The beginning. Who was with the Most High in the beginning?
Christ.
Christ.
And the angel?
And the angels.
Okay.
He said he was with the Most High. Verse 2, read it again.
St. John chapter 1 and verse 2. The same
That word, go ahead.
was in the beginning with God.
He was where? He was where?
With God.
Where? In the beginning.
beginning.
So we got that?
Right.
We understand that?
God.
All right. Is there any confusion? Ephesians 3 and 9.
Ephesians chapter 3, verse 9.
Yes, sir.
It says, "And to make all men see what the fellowship of the ministry," it's like of the mystery, "which from the beginning of the world hath been hid in the Most High, who created all things."
It says the Most High used Christ to create what?
All
things.
The Most High.
Everything.
The Most High used Christ to create what?
all things. By
Not some things.
yes, all things.
Not just a regular guy. Christ created everything.
Aliens too?
I don't want to say aliens, but I'll say celestial bodies, celestial spirits, and terrestrial spirits.
Okay.
Christ created both.
Okay.
They said he created all things. Go ahead.
Created all things by Yahushua.
by Jesus Christ.
By Jesus Christ.
So I want to make it clear so that children could even understand. All right. So Christ created what?
All things.
The Most High used Christ to create everything that you see that exists on earth, the things that's seen and unseen. All right. Christ created everything. All right. Now,
Crazy.
let's go to we gotta read this also, because when you look at who was there in the beginning, let's go to Job chapter 1 verse 6, who was also there, those as part of the celestial bodies. Job chapter 1 verse 6. Let's read that.
Job chapter 1, verse 6. Now, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord.
So now here, Job is describing a celestial meeting, a celestial entourage, a meeting in heaven, where the sons of God are. Those sons of God is Christ and who? And the angels.
The angels, the powers.
The powers. Right. So, read on, read that again.
Come, Job 1 and 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. And Satan came also among them.
And who?
And Satan came also among them.
So Satan is also classified as what? One of the sons of who? Sons of Most High. He wasn't the first created though, but he was there in a spiritual form, in a celestial form, also being there from the beginning. Yes, sir.
Now, you call them powers, but I thought power, the definition
Another term
of
for
power
angel.
meant results.
No, angel means another word for angel is powers. Powers meaning celestial beings. So it's just interchangeable terms.
Okay.
Angel.
I'm just trying to.
You're doing a great job. Angels, powers, celestial beings, spiritual beings, spirits. Those are all different interchangeable terminologies for the same thing. Like you have car, hoodoo, whip, slap, dunk. It's the same thing with it has 4 wheels, metal body, takes gas, you can go A to B, right?
Right.
House, crib, castle, my spot, casa flat, same place, just different names. So don't get lost in the terminology of the point. Focus on the main concept. The main concept is these powers, these angels, these spirits were created by the Most High through the first creature. Who was the first creature? Created from the Father.
And if it'll help you out, get the Strong's definition of Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 and 2, just to help you out a little bit more. All right, let's get the Strong's definition of God in the Hebrew, Elohim. Yes, sir.
It says angels.
It says what?
Angels.
So when you read in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, it says, in the beginning, God created, but it says in the Hebrew, the actual meaning is not God. It's the who?
Angels.
But these angels are celestial bodies.
Right.
The celestial bodies consist of Christ, the angels, and also who, according to Job? Satan. These are part of the heavenly hosts, the celestial spirits.
I thought Satan is an angel.
He is. But he's part of the celestial team, so to speak.
Okay.
If I can put it that way to make it easy to understand. Because I don't want to confuse you. Can Satan be seen with the naked eye? No, he cannot. But he's an angel. He exists. We're reading about him in Job. But he is a body that is spiritual, or I would say celestial, where it can't be seen, another dimension, where Christ is, where the angels are. Now, we just read in Luke where an angel appeared. That particular angel was Gabriel. He appeared to Zacharias and Elizabeth, parents of John the Baptist, And he had a message for him. He had a good message for him. But he was sent to give a message. So these angels have the ability to show up on earth. But he said out of his own mouth, I am Gabriel, who standeth in the presence of the Most High. That means I stand before who? The Most High himself. So these spirits have the ability to be in the celestial, but also they can translate where? To the terrestrial. But we also read a minute ago that if we follow after the Most High in Christ, we get to be translated to where Christ lives, which is where? The celestial. So if we come to terms with our obligation and fulfill our obligation to the Most High on this earth, then we get to be translated and sit and be in glory with Christ also. All right. Matter of fact, our opportunity is even greater than that. Matter of fact, when you read, go to 1 John chapter 3 and start at verse 1. I'll throw this in here real quick because I don't want to confuse you or confuse anybody. You ready? Let me put it on here. All right, let's read that.
1 John chapter 3, verse 1. Behold.
It says, behold means to look, to watch, pay attention. It says, behold, read on.
What manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us.
He said, look how much the Most High loves us. Talking about these terrestrial beings. All right? These sinners, so to speak. Mistake makers. Us. He says, look at how much the Most High even loves us. Read on.
That we should be called the sons of the Most High.
Just read it like you see it.
Come.
Because I want children, everybody to understand it. It says that, yes, read it like you see it.
Come. That we should be called the sons of God.
It says that we also get the opportunity to be called what?
The sons of God.
So we're reading in Job that the sons of God are only declared in a celestial form.
Right.
We're terrestrial beings. He said there's bodies terrestrial, there's bodies celestial. We get the opportunity to be classified in a celestial atmosphere. Read on.
Come. Therefore, the world knoweth us not.
Read on.
Because it knew him not.
It didn't know Christ. It didn't recognize Christ either. Read on.
Beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be.
And we are the sons of God as long as we follow after who? Christ. It says, but yet we don't know what our spiritual form or celestial form is going to look like. We don't have an idea about, we know what we look like in a mirror on the earth. You know your height, you know your skin tone,
Right.
you know whether you're losing weight, gaining weight.
Right.
You know your physical attributes, but do you know your spiritual attributes? Can you see yourself in the spirit? No. But we can and we will. But what he's saying is we don't have this ability as of yet, but we're confident that we're going to get this ability when we reside with Christ. Read that part again.
God. 1 John chapter 3, verse 2. Beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be. But we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him.
It says, but one thing that we can guarantee is that when Christ returns, in the second coming of Christ, it says we're going to be like who?
Like Christ.
We're going to be like Christ. So we get that opportunity to be classified as sons of God. And it's based off the lifestyle choices that we have, that we choose now on this earth. We get to be translated and to be one with Christ and be like Christ. So go back to St. John chapter 1 verse 2 one more time.
St. John?
Yeah. Yep. St. John 1 and 2.
St. John 1 and verse 2. St. John chapter 1 and verse 2. The same was in the beginning with God.
Who was in the beginning with God?
Word. Christ.
Christ. Jesus Christ. So-called Jesus Christ, right? He was in the beginning with the Most High. He was there in the beginning. Before heaven and earth was created. He was there. Read on.
God. Say John 1 and 3. All things were made by him.
It says what?
All things were made by him.
All things were made by who? Christ. Everything was made by Christ. Celestial and terrestrial. Christ created. He made everything. All right? We understand that? Any questions? All right? All things were what?
All things were made by him.
Go ahead.
And without him.
It said, and without him, read on.
And without him was not anything made that was made.
It says, without him, nothing existed without him. Showing you the magnitude of creation. Who created everything? When you read in Genesis, when you read the book of Genesis, you're really reading about the creation, what Christ created. Everything he created.
Right.
Under the Most High's orders.
Right.
You're reading about him going to work with the angels to put everything in motion, to manifest everything we see with our eyes today, right? Whether it's material or immaterial. We're going to prove that. Let's go to Colossians chapter 1. We was there earlier. Let's go back. This time, let's read verse 16.
Colossians chapter 1, verse 16.
Let's read that.
Okay. Colossians chapter 1, verse 16. For by him were all things created.
So we were just there a minute ago, and it says that through Christ was what?
For by him were all things.
Some things.
All things.
Christ only did a little work.
All things.
He kicked his feet up.
All things.
No, bro. Everything you see, every life, every organism, every wind, every piece of rain, every element that you see that exists on the earth, dark matter and matter that you can see with the eyes, Christ created it.
And are those things creatures?
Yes, all the things that we see today are creatures.
Okay.
Creatures, but they're creations of Christ. They come from Christ.
Okay.
Christ created it. Read.
It says, for by him were all things created that are in heaven.
Wait a minute. It says Christ created everything that's where?
That are in heaven.
So we could see the physical heavens, but there's also a side of heaven we don't see, which is where the angels in the Most High dwell. He created that abode as well.
I think I was being too talkative, but that's what came to my mind. If he created heaven and earth, obviously they were somewhere else before they created this.
Exactly.
Is that too deep?
Well, you know what? We don't know because the Bible don't say.
Okay.
But we don't know where the Most High dwells. The Most High dwells, he says, in the infinite.
Woo.
He says when you go to Apocrypha, go to Apocrypha real quick, and give me this verse real fast. Get 2nd Ezra chapter 8, and give me verse 21. Start at verse 20.
Go.
Tell them where you at.
Come. 2nd Ezra chapter 8 and verse 20 reads.
20. Start at 20.
Come.
Read that.
Alright, got it. O Lord, thou that dwellest in everlastingness.
Where does the Most High dwell?
Thou that dwellest in everlastingness.
It says the Most High dwelleth in what?
Everlastingness.
Everlastingness. Well, how do you quantify everlastingness? What's the address of everlastingness?
Well, it's deeper than Mr. Manhattan in the Marvel, that blue creature.
So,
Wow.
so it shows you you can't even quantify where the Most High dwells.
Right.
He said he dwells. There's no time. Time doesn't exist. Space doesn't exist. This plane that we dwell in, this three-dimensional form, don't exist with the Most High. Yes, sir. You can get it.
Everlastingness. Eternity. Endless duration.
It says endless duration. Where does the Most High live at? Endless duration.
Like endless space.
Endless space. Eternity. That you couldn't drive around the block, the Most High's block, bro. You couldn't spin around. You couldn't spin around his block.
Right.
Hey, you don't have enough life in you. We don't have enough breath in us to make it around the corner to where the Most High lives. That's why these people get these damn shuttles.
Yeah.
And they can only quantify things in time based on man years and light years, basically on the speed of what light travels. However, whatever light travels at, they quantify travel based upon light. The Most High don't use that. He doesn't use that spectrum. Only man uses that spectrum. You know, we see photons of light, you know, which gives us, clarity and vision. But obviously they know that there's other forms of light and heat that exist, such as UV light, X-ray light, gamma ray light. All these are different forms of vibrations and energy that exist that we don't understand. But they can't see we can't use and perceive through our physical eyes the way the Most High looks at things. Only thing that we can do is just believe what the Most High told us. Matter of fact, somebody get that 2 Ezra chapter 1, read verse 37 real quick. Finish. Hold that, my water. Let somebody else get this.
Go.
Second Esdras, chapter 1, verse 37.
Read this.
I take to witness.
He said, I take to witness. Read.
The grace of the people to come.
He says, the grace of the people to come. Read on.
Whose little ones rejoice in gladness.
It says, who little ones rejoice in gladness. Read.
And though they have not seen me with bodily eyes.
It says, although these little ones have not seen me with what?
Bodily eyes.
Bodily eyes are what?
Physical.
These physical eyeballs, bro. These eyeballs, the retina, the pupil, the oval almond shape, matter that squishy material that your eyeballs are made out of, that got nerves that go from the brain and the optical nerve that connect to the back of the retina.
Oh, chemical.
He says they haven't seen me with bodily eyes. He said, but look at the grace of these young ones, that future generation, which is now, that believe on the Most High, even though we haven't seen the Most High with what?
Bodily eyes.
You got to read it, bro.
With bodily eyes.
Read.
Yet in spirit.
It said, but yet in what?
In spirit.
We follow the Most High in what?
In spirit.
We believe in the Most High in what?
In spirit.
We don't have to see the Most High to believe in the Most High.
Right.
That's what faith is. Hebrews 11:1, right? So he said, look at the beauty of that future generation that's going to believe in the Most High, even though we haven't seen the Most High with our physical eyes. That's a beautiful thing, to know that the Most High exists, even though you can't see him, but you know he's there.
Right.
I got pools right here to prove that point too.
Come on.
2 Kings chapter 6 verse 17. 2 Kings chapter 6 and verse 17.
Gotcha.
This is important because we're not just, it's not just a religious concept. This is a scientific concept also, like Sean's going into.
2 Kings chapter 6 and verse 17. And Elisha prayed and
Elisha prayed to the Most High. Read.
And said, Lord, I pray thee.
Lord, capital Lord, right?
Come.
Meaning Christ. He's praying to Christ. Read.
I pray thee, open his eyes.
So his eyes were already open. He said, open his eyes. There's terrestrial eyes and there's celestial eyes. Read.
That he may see.
That he may see. He already saw. He was surrounded by a military. But now
physical military.
A physical military. Right. So we're talking about the physical, tangible sight based off of the reflection of light, so you know this is real because it reflects light back to you.
Right.
Read.
And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man,
He opened the eyes of the student and disciple of Elisha. Read.
and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses,
The mountain was full of what?
horses and chariots,
Horses and chariots. Read on.
horses and chariots of fire
Horses and chariots of fire. Read.
round about Elisha.
There was nothing but chariots and forces around him. He was surrounded by forces, but he couldn't perceive them with the terrestrial or the physical eye. He had to pray the Most High removed his physical vision and gave him that spiritual, celestial vision that the physical eye can't perceive. And then he saw that he was already surrounded by angelic beings, by spiritual beings, by the powers. So there is more than one sight.
Con.
Right. Okay.
Back to 2nd Ezra 8 and 20.
Second Ezra chapter 8 verse 20 reads, O Lord, thou that dwellest in everlastingness, which beholdest from above things in the heaven and in the air.
So he said the Most High sits above everything. He watches everything. Read on.
Come, which beholdest from above things in heaven and in the earth. Salaki, and in the air.
Read.
Whose throne is inestimable.
Inestimable.
Salaki, inestimable.
Read that again.
Whose throne is inestimable.
What does that mean?
Can't quantify.
You can't quantify. We don't have a rubric. We don't have a mathematical equation. Einstein ain't got it. Tesla ain't got it. No, nobody has a rubric or measurement or an instrument or a ruler that can measure or quantify the throne of the Most High. We don't even know where the edge of space is. We don't even know. There's telescopes right now that are just picking up new galaxies, new Milky Ways, and new constellations every day. There's billions upon billions upon billions of celestial bodies that are out there that no damn telescope, whether it's the latest and greatest telescope, they're already working on a new one. You got the Hubble telescope, and then you got that one got replaced by that other telescope, which is the what's that other one called? The latest one that opens up, that's made out of gold foil. John Webb. The John Webb telescope is the latest. They're already working on, and that one's supposed to be like the eyeball of the universe.
Oh my God.
You gotta say God.
You know what I'm saying? That's supposed to be able to see, pick up new galaxies, new stars forming, new supernovas, stars exploding. They're supposed to, but you can't even in that. You can't see where the Most High dwell in.
And the scientists now, they say this is their new theory now, that we're in a we're existing in a black hole.
Listen. They don't. And you said it correctly. Those are theories.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they are. Those are theories. They said, but the Most High's throne is what?
Is inestimable.
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 What's the definition of inestimable? You got it?
Yeah, come. Inestimable. Too valuable or excellent to be rated.
It says too valuable or too excellent to be what?
Rated.
You can't rate the Most High's kingdom. Can't be rated, bro. You can't be identified. Because there's nothing earthly that can quantify the Most High's throne. Yes, sir.
Cannot be estimated or computed.
Can't be computed, bro. No supercomputer, no AI. They're really leaning on AI with the new AI Jesus. There is a new AI Jesus out. The new software program called AI Jesus.
Wow.
You gotta watch out for it. You gotta watch out for the damn devils are doing, bro.
Out of there.
They going in. They know their time is up. They creating every damn thing.
Yeah.
AI Jesus?
Yeah. They
on,
claim
bro.
they have found the God molecule.
Right.
They say a lot of things. Though.
They'll destroy the universe, because man tampers with things.
You are
But
the father of
the
lies.
thing about it is, every time they get to the smallest God molecule, is something smaller in there.
Right.
That
Is it God particles?
yeah.
The God particles, the antimatter, anti-gravity. They're super colliders for. They take pictures and snapshots of. They want to know how the world began, how the universe started. But then you can't quantify the throne of the Most High. But read on. Finish that in 21.
I haven't got the ocean right there, bro.
No, we know that.
It's been here for a long
Plus, He
time.
did say that God sits
Well,
above.
you know they ain't got the ocean right because they just pulled the wreckage up from Titan today.
Oh,
you
really?
talking about that?
Wow.
Yeah, the one that imploded. Yeah, they just pulled that up out the water today.
With those 4 people?
Yeah, 5 people.
So they were inside, huh?
Yeah, well, we're gonna find out. We know they are. But read on.
Whose glory may not be comprehended.
It says the Most High's glory may not be what?
Comprehended.
So where Christ is with the Father, you can't comprehend, compute, or even estimate the magnitude of the throne.
It's impossible.
It's impossible, bro. Read on.
Before whom the hosts of angels stand.
It says, and in that area where the Most High is, he says there's a host, and even that host is innumerable. A host of who?
Of angels stand with trembling.
And even the angels stand next to the Most High.
Trembling.
What? Trembling.
Wow.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So it shows you that the magnitude of where Christ came from before he got here on earth. It shows the magnitude of his dwelling place.
Right.
Where he was before the Most High said, okay, I need you to go down there and show him something. Come on, son. Get in the game and show him how it's done.
God.
That's how the Most High did it. Get in there and show him how to be perfect.
And it said he sits above heaven,
Yes. The heaven that we see.
the heaven that he created, but he sits above that.
Right. In a dimension, a plane that we can't even compute or quantify or estimate or put a value on or rate. All right? So we understand that? Let's go back to where we were. Let that go. And let's go back to where we were in John chapter 1, verse 3 one more time. And then I think, Yawab, you had Colossians 1 and 16, correct?
St. John chapter 1 and verse 3. All things were made by him.
So everything was made by who?
Christ.
Christ. Now, we gotta get that first and understood that Christ created everything. He made everything, both heavenly and earthly, celestial and terrestrial. All right, we understand that. We're driving this point. Go ahead.
And without him was not anything made that was.
So there wasn't anything made that Christ didn't make. Meaning He made everything. Everything that they witnessing on these telescopes, like I said, the John Webb telescope is the latest. They're already working on a new one that's supposed to be better than the John Webb telescope. And they're 20 years out from that. What you got?
Right here.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
Real fast, Psalms 115.
I'll just put it up here real quick.
Psalms 115, verse 15 and verse 16.
Psalm 115, 115.
Psalms chapter 115 and verse 16.
Come. Psalms chapter 115 and verse 16. The heaven, even the heavens.
No, 15. Sorry about that. 15 and 15
My bad.
through 16. I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
That's on me.
Psalms chapter 115 and 15. You are blessed of the Lord, which made heaven and earth.
So who made heaven and earth?
Christ.
Christ.
Christ did.
Read.
The heaven, even the heavens, are the Lord.
The heaven, even the heavens, are who?
Are the Lord.
Who does it belong to?
So I like what you're saying because He showed you that there's more than what? One heaven.
Wow.
Stores on
Go ahead,
that.
I'm sorry.
Read on, sir.
Come. But the earth hath he given to the children of men.
So we dwell on this three-part format. Height, width, depth. Three-dimensional format. That's where we're at. We're on the earth. We're on the bottom. We started from the bottom. Right? Literally. But the Most High is in the heaven of heavens. And they're the Lord's. The Lord created these things. But the Most High created Him. He created the one that created everything. He's the creator of the creation.
Okay. Got it? Yes, sir.
I got a question. When it says, but the earth have he given to the children of men, to my understanding, when I was here, are you talking about the nations or just talking about us? Like,
Mankind, period. Are we not here on earth?
Yeah.
God.
Some of us are not.
Yeah, some of our minds are not on that. But that flesh is that we're in the flesh.
Yeah.
And you could. That's why you can't. We were made as terrestrial beings. You know. That's why every time we try to go out of space, man can't live too long out of space, bro. You know why? Every time they try to go outside the solar system, or not even the solar system, just the edge of what's known as space, radiation is so strong that it starts to mutate cells after about 100 days. The radiation starts to get to you over time.
They call it the Van Allen radiation belts.
Right.
Yep.
So you cannot go through or go past the Van Allen. A machine can, but a man can't. A physical body can't. It's called the Van Allen radiation belt. We ain't getting past that.
Yeah, you get past that, then you start getting X-rays by the minute, taking X-rays by the hour, and we know that the testicles are sensitive to X-rays. So our bodies aren't made to dwell outside this platform, this terraform, so to speak. Yes, sir.
Oh, we lose, bone density.
Bone, yes, right. You get osteoporosis because you know why? Because there's no gravity. Gravity creates stress. Stress creates micro fractures in the bone, which recalcifies itself and re-strengthens itself. So when you take away gravity, you take away the bone's ability to have stress upon the bones. So you don't intensify blood flow. Then you start getting osteoporosis. Your bones get brittle. You can't make it on another planet. The Most High didn't create it that way. He created it where we function here. All that intergalactic space travel is a waste of money.
Yeah.
And a waste of time.
And there's some scientists that say we cannot. There's no way you could leave this dome. And they're saying it's a conspiracy that we've been on the moon. That's a lie.
Listen,
Listen,
listen, bro. All those are theories.
Right.
All those are theories, and so we're learning straight from the Bible. We don't have to believe Esau's theories. We can go to the Bible and get where the Most High placed us and what our obligation is on this planet. And what are the limitations of us? We're terrestrial beings. We're not lunar Mercury beings. We're not we're trying to get to Mars. We're trying to terraform Mars and grow habitat and create oxygen, find ice and rehydrate the ice and the oxygen. Man trying to do everything to get the hell off this planet, but this planet is his only place he can survive.
Right.
They can't even deal with that sun, huh? They can't even deal with that sun.
The UV rays is too much.
Right.
So, where we at right now?
Yes. Psalm 115. Oh,
No. We're in
St. John.
St. John, chapter
1 to 3.
yeah. Let's go back 1 and 3 real quick.
St. John.
And Yawab, you have Colossians, right? 1 and 16.
St. John 1 and verse 3. All things were made by him.
So we got to get this point. We're driving this point. Everything was made by who? Christ. Read on.
And without him was not anything made that was made.
Go ahead.
In him was life.
In him was what?
Life.
Read.
And the life was the light of men.
All right. So that life and our only hope to get out of this plane, to get out of this form, this terrestrial form, our only hope is who? Christ. That our only hope is Christ. All right. Back to Colossians 1 and 16.
Colossians chapter 1, verse 16. For by him were all things created
Read.
that are in heaven.
So Christ created everything that's where?
In heaven.
Read on.
And that are in the earth.
So Christ also created everything you see on this planet. Everything. Read.
Visible.
It says what?
Visible.
Visible. What else?
And invisible.
And what?
Invisible.
So Christ created everything that you can see with the eye, and also there's things he created from the beginning of time that you don't see with the eye.
That's here on earth.
That's here on earth.
Wow.
That you don't even know it's there. Such as gravity. Christ created everything. So showing you the science behind Christ. He was the one that put together the right mixture of helium, oxygen, and nitrogen, and the right amount of water pressure and the right amount of vapor so we could breathe.
So yeah, burn our lungs up.
Yeah, so we can barely get to a damn mountaintop without getting shortness of breath, without trying to get an oxygen machine. Or you got the guy that just broke the world's record for living underwater. Been underwater for like 100 and something days. Just broke the record.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But eventually, you know what happens with that water pressure? That water pressure eventually pushes the nitrogen outside the body, the blood cell, the blood vessels. So now you got nitrogen that's outside the body.
My God.
And then so when you decompress and you come back up out of the water, that nitrogen sits outside the body. You get bubbles in the brain.
Oh my God.
And they call the bends. And immediately you vomit, especially if you get it in your ear.
Oh my God.
Immediately you vomit uncontrollably, and you get immediate, like, what's that when you can't sit, you can't stand up straight, you gotta lay on your side.
Oh.
Vertigo, instant vertigo.
It's trying to
And
equalize. The body's trying to equalize.
What happens is the water pressure pushes the nitrogen out of the blood vessels. So then it's when you decompress and the oxygen goes back into the blood vessels, the nitrogen stays out. So now you got nitrogen sitting outside the blood. So it creates bubbles in the brain. It's painful.
Wow.
And you got to put a person, they'll die if you don't put them in a hyperbaric chamber.
It's like torture.
To allow the nitrogen to go back into the blood. That's how you know we weren't made to be underwater.
So he's still underwater right now.
Nah, he just came up. He just came up.
I'm sorry, he might not make
But
it.
he probably had to decompress for like a day or something.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I used to work with them out in chambers, with the guys on the base, and some of those pilots and Navy guys would come back. They'd be in the chambers for weeks. Man.
Yeah,
Weeks.
you got to be in there for a while. Sometimes it takes 20 days, 23 days. If you're an underwater welder,
Right.
you got to be in them chambers for months. You got to be in them chambers to allow your body so that the oxygen can come back through the blood wall barrier. You know, the cellular wall.
You have to retire within 10 years.
I don't know about that, but I know
you
can't do it for a long time.
Because they said it takes years off your life.
Yeah, of course.
That's crazy.
So, but we're not made for that. We're not made to be underwater, and we're not made to be out of space. You know what I'm saying? Christ made us right where He put us right where we need to be. Yes, sir.
Also heard that they shoot you with a type of chemical, like basically submerging into water, like deep pressure levels of water. When they have to shoot you with some type of
What they do is they have a mixture of they utilize a mixture of nitrogen and oxygen and helium, and that's what you breathe, and it's a purified form. That's what they give divers when they go in, past like 200 feet below sea level. All right. So let's get back to this point. Colossians 1:16.
Colossians chapter 1, verse 16. For by him were all things created,
Read on.
that are in heaven and that are in earth,
Christ is responsible for all creation. Read on.
visible and invisible.
Now give me the definition of immaterial. 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 Like material, but I am first. IMM. Material. Immaterial. Give the definition of that. 1828.
Immaterial.
So you understand when Christ was responsible for creation, He made everything that you see with the eyes, but there's all types of things that Christ created that you have no knowledge of because we can't see it. Read.
Incorporeal, not material, not consisting of matter.
Right.
Wow.
Incorporeal means having no material existence. So these are things that scientists are looking for,
Like dark matter.
like dark matter.
Yeah.
These are things like the God particles. These antimatter, anti-gravity. These are what scientists are looking for, and have these expensive laboratories underground, like the CERN project.
Mm-hmm.
Like what they were trying to build in Texas, what Texas Instruments was trying to build back in the 80s was a super collider under Texas, but it got too expensive. They ditched the
Thank
project.
the Most High for that, bro.
But they're creating trying to open up these portals, these stargates,
Yeah,
trying to rip the atmosphere.
Fabric
to take a look and find out if we can go forward in time, or if we can go back in time, or if we can teleport to another dimension. So they're trying to rip space, and that's what these things are finding out. That they're finding different forms of travel. We're trying to open up other portals to other galaxies.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
I remember you saying that they had made like some type of gun where you can shoot it and then it disappears and then reappears.
No, they've actually been successful. Scientists have been successful with being able to teleport photons of light.
Yes, now.
Now they've actually created machinery that can shoot a beam of light from Earth. It disappears and then it reappears in space. And they've done that with light particles. I'm not saying Esau ain't smart, but he's intelligent. But he tapped into the left hand side for that knowledge. We know who the scientists that created the atom bomb, who they worship. They tell you that they worship Satan. And Satan gave them this knowledge to create these bombs. Yes, nuclear fission. So, but who created all the things that you see that's invisible? Christ did. No, Christ did.
They said that they got it from him.
Yes. So
They have a power.
let's read that again. So the definition of immaterial. One more time.
What was that first word? How did you say that?
Incorporeal.
Incorporeal, not material, not consisting of matter.
Now we know matter is what? Somebody give me the definition of matter. What's matter? We should know that from science class, right?
Matter. Substance.
Substance, but it's in particular what? No.
Substance.
In a more simpler form. Matter in a simpler scientific form they told us in school. Y'all remember that?
Containing an atom.
No. Contains what? No. Mass.
Oh, man.
Somebody get the definition.
Mass times acceleration.
Matter?
Matter. Yeah.
Yeah, matter. You want like super simplified?
Yeah, the one they gave us in school.
Oh, okay. Well, matter. Something that occupies space.
Yeah, something that takes up space, that has mass and takes up space. Go ahead. That's it. Matter is things that's anything that has mass and takes up space. That was the definition they taught us in school.
Right.
Right? Y'all remember that?
That's material.
That's material. But what Christ created was immaterial. What Christ created was things that exist that don't have any matter.
There's no mass.
There's no mass to it.
Would that be like lights?
They're like electrons, neutrons, protons.
Wait.
But even beyond wind. There's elements that Christ created and particles that he created that we can't see with the naked eye. Or we have no knowledge of that exists. They know it exists. But they just can't harbor it. They can't harness it. And they can't utilize it and they can't exploit it.
Right.
Like they can exploit gold or silver.
Right.
This can't be harnessed or harbored. But once you do, like plutonium, uranium, once you refine plutonium, once you refine uranium, you create nuclear cataclysms, nuclear fission.
Right.
Then they can control it with the power station and produce electricity because of the volume of heat that it produces. There's other atoms, there's other molecules that exist that we don't even have knowledge of that Christ created, that man is still searching for. But Christ created everything that you see and everything also that you don't see. Christ created everything. We understand that? Who's that? You got Colossians? Yeah, understanding Colossians. So you got that in immaterial, right? Also, no, give one more word. It's one more definition for immaterial.
As immaterial spirits.
As what?
Immaterial spirits.
As spirits that don't have what?
Material.
That spirits that are not carbon based.
Don't have mass.
They don't have mass. So the Most High Christ also created spirits, celestial spirits that don't have any mass, that are invisible to your eyes. But but in the beginning, Christ created everything. We just don't see His whole creation.
Right.
These 2-bit eyes aren't able to see all of Christ's creation. We're limited. Read.
Colossians chapter 1 verse 16. For by him were all things created, that are in heaven and that are in the earth, visible and invisible.
Read.
Whether they be thrones.
It says there's thrones. A throne is what? A kingdoms. There's kingdoms that we don't even understand, that we don't even know exist. Read on.
Or dominions.
Dominion represents what? Powers. There's powers that we understand on earth, but there's powers that we don't understand that Christ created also. Read.
It says dominions. Yes, sir. Got you right here. It says dominions or principalities.
Read.
Or powers.
And we know angels also means what?
Powers.
Read on.
All things that were created by him. It's like all things were created by him and for him.
Fubu.
Yeah.
By him. Yeah. Everything was created by Christ and for Christ. That's why Christ said this in St. John 14:1. Read that real quick. St. John chapter 14 verse 1. Read that.
God. St. John 14 verse 1. Let not your heart be troubled.
Read on. If you follow in Christ, then you don't have to fret or be vexed. Read on.
Let not your heart be troubled.
Read.
Ye believe in God.
He said you believe in the Most High, right? Read on.
Believe also in me.
He said also believe in who?
Me.
Christ said believe in me like you believe in the Most High. Why did Christ say this? Read on.
In my Father's house are many mansions.
So who created all the mansions in his Father's house?
Christ.
Christ did. He said, in my Father's house is many mansions. Not many like M-I-N-Y, but M-A-N-Y. Not many like small. Many.
Okay.
Like too many to count.
Right.
He said, in my Father's house, he says, are many mansions. Meaning there's already thrones, civilizations ready to house the Most High's children. Ready for us to inherit in a celestial form, not a terrestrial form, but in a celestial form.
And they're in his house.
Right.
In his house.
Yes, where the Most High dwells.
That's crazy.
Read on.
If it were not so, I would have told you.
It said, if it wasn't already made, I would have told you. Read on.
I go to prepare a place for you.
It said, Christ said when he left earth, he was already preparing what?
A place.
For who?
For you.
It's more work
For us, man. He was doing more work when he got back with the Father. There's dominions, there's kingdoms, there's thrones, there's powers, there's civilizations ready to be inherited by us. He just waiting on us to get there. Christ said, I've already created this. It said, if it wasn't so, I wouldn't have told you.
I wouldn't have told you this, bro.
I'm not going to lie to
I'm
you.
going to tell you some crazy stuff.
He said, I'll go to prepare what?
A place for you.
Go ahead.
If I go and prepare a place for you.
That's it. That's the point. There's other civilizations ready for us to inherit that are in the celestial realm, waiting for us to be with the Most High in Christ. That's why it says, don't stress. If you believe in the Most High, believe in me also. He said, I'm working on your behalf. All right? We understand that? Who had Colossians chapter 1, verse 16? Somebody else get that.
Colossians 1:16. For by him were all things created.
Go ahead.
That are in heaven.
Read verse 17.
God. And he is before all things.
It says what?
And he is before all things.
What does it say, class?
Christ before all things.
What does that mean?
He's the most important.
He was the first.
He's the most important.
Christ not only created everything, but he was the first thing created.
Pre-existing.
He existed before everything, both in heaven and in earth. Before every planet you see, every star, every sun, moon, galaxy, Christ was before that. Because he was with the Father already.
And that doesn't even tell about the shocking story about how God started.
You never know that. We don't even have, brother, we can't even quantify that. That's fantasy.
Come on, bro.
That's fantasy. At that point, we can only use our imagination, bro. But we can even in that.
Well, maybe
It's even that is more than what our
We created
imagination
time,
can quantify.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right.
So with that scripture, when it says he is before all things, does that mean also that like the scripture when he said that he's creating everything, let us create man our image, was Christ there then?
Yes. That's why you came in a little late, but you're right on time. Christ was there in the beginning. And that's what we've been proving this whole time. When you get an opportunity, rewind it, because what we're doing is we're going to show how Christ was in the beginning. He was part of creation. He was responsible for creation. And he was the first thing ever created. The Most High made him first out of anything and everybody. Spiritual, visible, invisible, immaterial, or material. Read on.
And he is before all things.
Go ahead.
And by him all things consist.
It says, by him all things consist. That consist means to exist or to be composed. Which means what? To be composed or to exist.
The scientists said there's some kind of force
Or formula or
energy there's some kind of thing that keeps all this together.
right.
Well, I mean, who framed the worlds? Huh?
Yep.
try to say
No, when you say, I like what you said.
They're saying that these scientists actually say we can't quantify it, we can't explain it. They've been trying to do this forever.
Right.
They said there's some kind of force that keeps all these things together in some kind of perfect form. Not counting that we have the pi formula, 3.14, that everything that's created, when you deal with
Or the Fibonacci sequence.
the Fibonacci sequence, which is a perfect numerical structure of all things in nature form, always goes to the Fibonacci sequence. When you cut a conch in half or a shell in half,
Sacred geometry.
you'll get that purple. It's just how things are created. We can go into that, but I'm saying you're dealing with these circular. It starts in a small circle, it keeps spinning outward as a spiral, but it's always in the perfect format of the Fibonacci sequence, which is this perfect 3.14 measurement. But the Most High has that in all things.
Right.
That's how you can prove and quantify that the world was created by divine intelligence and not some magical explosion and some mythical explosion. Just all of a sudden things randomly came to being.
Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all know this guy. You know, I don't know if to like him or despise him or whatever, but that Ben Carson.
We don't like that guy.
Oh man, I just said at the beginning of the class.
Yeah.
False prophets. Ben Carson, one of them. He said that the Ark of the Covenant was a tesseract, meaning it generated electricity. It was a generator.
It's a battery.
That's a battery.
The one thing I got from what you're saying is he came up. I mean, he was showing this design that is in everything, and I guess it's the quantum numbers.
All I'm saying is he signed everything with his. Everything has the same mathematical formula.
He said that the Ark of the Covenant was stolen. That's why Moses was running. He stole the Ark of the Covenant.
He's always slashed. He's
always discrediting the scriptures. Yes, sir.
Right.
He said now that the Ark of the Covenant is a manna machine that was creating the manna.
He said it's a manna machine. It's a bread machine.
Yeah, he said like
Oh my
I
God.
think that guy's going to hell.
Stole it.
That's what you know what's good, bro.
Oh my God. He didn't already switch it up.
I sent you the video.
I know. I didn't see it yet. I didn't see it. Yeah, I didn't see it yet. Yeah.
He said he was a pharaoh too. He said Moses was actually a pharaoh.
Yeah, he said he was a pharaoh.
And he ran.
Listen,
He's a demon now.
you gotta watch out for these guys.
Yeah,
That's why
false prophets.
I wouldn't go rolling with him. And his,
that's why you gotta pay attention. You gotta know the Bible more than you know theory and man's false intelligence.
Then it's funny.
Then he's using some emerald tablets and some Sumerian tablets, some Sumerian clay tablets. He's using all these different history, pre-Diluvian societies' knowledge to come back and say what the Bible is. That's why it's so important that we teach. That's why I'm driving this point about Christ.
Right.
All glory go to Christ.
All glory to Christ.
All creation Christ is responsible for.
Right.
So when you look at the definition of the word consist, I'm glad you brought that point up. Get that definition of the word consist. It says because through Christ all things consist, meaning all things have their being, all things have their existence.
All glory to Christ, bro.
That's why we keep driving this point about the power that Christ possessed even before creation. Before heaven and earth.
Remember, he was on the cross in his weakest form physically and said, I could call down 12 legions of what?
Angels.
Angels. I could do that. So they didn't kill Christ. He gave his life up willingly for his people. Because that was his mission.
Right. Read that definition. Consist. I'm glad you brought that up.
Consist. To stand together.
It says, so what keeps everything together? Like Daria said, they say it's a mathematical formula, sacred geometry that holds the universe together. No, it ain't.
They try to say dark matter too.
You know it ain't.
You might be dark. You might have dark skin. Huh?
Dark just means, dark just means unknown. They don't know.
Right.
That's what that dark matter is. They don't understand it. They don't know what it is.
Right.
It's dark to them, but we know by the Bible.
That's right.
Who's responsible for everything. We know by the word of the Most High who gave everything its existence. Who gave everything its being. That definition?
To be fixed. To be in a fixed or permanent state.
So what keeps everything in a fixed and permanent state? Christ.
How? Because, I mean, listen, they said the earth is going 2 billion million miles an hour spinning in space. Yeah. This is all this crazy stuff, bro.
And it's sliding off its axis.
It's like it's about to fall, the earth is about to like tilt over, about to crash.
Yeah. And that's why we have weird weather patterns.
Come on, bro.
Because true north is no longer north. North is no longer north is going like northeast now.
The east side is the east side.
The east side is the east side. Everybody got to put an N on the east side tattoo now. You know things are changing, brother. Yo, we throwing up northeast. Don't just throw up that east. We ain't on the axis no more. Gangs are changing too. Right? So we understand what that consist means, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So he said, because through Christ, everything has its being. Everything is held together by Christ because He created it.
Right.
Verse 17, Colossians 1:17.
Colossians chapter 1, verse 17. It said, and He is before all things. And
so it's showing you right now that Christ was in front of and first, in front of everything, both celestial and terrestrial, both heavenly and earthly, both visible and invisible. Christ is responsible for everything. Read on.
And by Him all things consist.
Everything has its existence through Christ.
And they haven't disproven the Bible yet. All these years, all these liars, all these scientists.
Bill Nye, the science guy.
Hater. He's a hater.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. They got all these fancy formulas.
The super smart guy that died in the wheelchair.
Steve Hawkins.
Steve Hawkins.
That was that guy.
Yeah. The what was he? A theorist? Quantum physics.
A professional imaginer.
Yeah. But you know, we know who gives them insight. We know what spirits they tap into to give them insight on that left hand side. We understand who that is.
So there really is oracles, left hand oracles.
Yeah, that's all it is. Read on. You're right.
Verse 18. It says, and He is the head of the body.
And who's the head of the body?
Christ.
Christ is the head of the body. That's why we follow Christ. We don't follow what man says. We don't follow what science says. We don't follow what chemistry says. We don't follow none of these things, bro. You can be led astray that way.
You didn't follow the science.
Yeah.
We just did this last year, didn't we?
Or let me read your palm, and because your future is written in the stars.
Oh yeah.
And so I could read your lifeline.
Yeah.
Because that's that line in your palm. I can read your lifeline. I can tell you what's gonna happen to you.
Lord don't like them.
Listen, man. Christ is responsible for everything. Yeah. Read on.
It says, and He is the head of the body, the church, who is the beginning.
Read on.
The firstborn from the dead.
And Christ also is the firstborn from what?
From the dead.
He resurrected what?
The dead.
He was the first to resurrect from the dead. Christ is the first in everything, bro. He's first in everything. There ain't nothing He's last in.
All glory to Christ, bro.
Read on.
It says that in all things.
It says that in all things. Go ahead.
He might have the preeminence,
which is the superiority of power.
Come on.
Read on.
For it pleased the Father.
Go ahead.
That in Him should all fullness dwell.
It pleased the Father to make sure Christ gets put back in that position that He once had anyway. So why not make him first in the resurrection? Why not make him the first to resurrect out of the dead? The Most High want to put him back first in everything that he did because he created the earth first. He was first in creation. He's first in gaining the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the Father. The Most High delivered everything to him. He didn't hold anything back when he gave it to Christ, when he gave Christ his knowledge. Nothing was held back. He gave him full understanding. Read on.
Verse 20, Colossians chapter 1, verse 20. And having made peace through the blood of his cross.
And that's why it was necessary that he go first to death. And he also was first brought back to life. Read on.
By him to reconcile.
But to who?
By him to reconcile.
So you know what the Most High said? If you love him that much, then die for him. Because who created us? Christ. So it's necessary for the Most High to tell Christ, if you love him that much, since you created him, if you love him that much, then die for him. Since you created him. So what did Christ do? He died for us because he loves us that much. Because he created us.
Oh, so it wasn't God that it was Yahweh's choice to create us?
No, it was correct. It was the Most High's word. Christ did the work. The angels also assisted him in the work of creation. But also, the Most High was going to destroy us. What Christ created. But Christ said, no. I'll do what? I'll die for them. Because I created them. So I'm responsible for them. Make sense? Say again? Right. So we understand that it was Christ that created us. So the Most High wouldn't destroy us. He laid down his life for us. That's the kind of love he has for his creation.
That's real love too. Because you gotta think about all the numerous spirits he created. He didn't forget one.
He didn't forget one. You know why it was nothing for Christ to die for? I ain't gonna say it was nothing like it was easy. Because the scriptures say, scarcely shall a righteous man die for somebody. I'm not gonna discredit it like it's simple. But go to Hebrews chapter 2, verse 10 real quick. I mean Ephesians, I'm sorry. Go to Ephesians. Hold where you at, y'all. I want you to read that one more time. And read Ephesians chapter, yes. And then somebody else get Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10. So we understand why it was necessary for Christ to lay down his life first for his creation.
So, Colossians chapter 1, verse 20.
Read that.
And having made peace through the blood of his cross, by him to reconcile all things unto himself.
Right? Read on.
By him, I say, whether they be things in earth or things in heaven.
So it was necessary that Christ bring us back to the Father because he created us. Ephesians 2 and 10. Read that.
Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 10. For we are his workmanship.
It says what?
For we are his workmanship.
Whose workmanship?
His workmanship.
We're the work of Christ.
Yes, we're the workmanship of Christ.
The product that he created.
The product, his creation. Man is his creation. So since we are his workmanship, it was necessary that he die for us. Read that again.
For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus.
Go ahead.
Unto good works.
But because we're his workmanship, and we was created by Christ, for Christ, we should be executing what?
Good works.
Good works, bro. We're Christ's creation. So we should be living that.
Yeah, okay.
We should be living after our Creator. That's why the head of every man is who?
Christ.
That's why Christ is the head of every man. And if we understand that, then we should be following Christ and executing every good work possible. Yes, sir.
No, I was going to say we're a byproduct of Christ.
You can say that. I'll say we're created by Christ. We're His creation.
Something like that.
We're His workmanship. He fashioned us.
Like made in China,
Right.
Yeah.
like made in the USA, made by Christ.
Well, and that's why we.
So obviously, there's nothing, or shouldn't be nothing evil about His work.
About His workmanship. Why would I want to pollute the workmanship of Christ? 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 19.
It's a whole other conversation.
Let Ephesians go. Yeah, whole Colossians. We're gonna finish that. No, I think we finished. We're done with Colossians. You let that go because we're done with that. We got the point. Read that.
1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19 reads, "What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit,
Go ahead.
which is in you,
Which who gave us this Holy Spirit? Christ did. Read on.
which ye have of the Most High,
Go ahead.
and ye are not your own?"
They say you are not what?
Your own.
You don't belong to you. So we can't drink what I want, smoke what I want, eat what I want, go where I want. This ain't our bodies. We don't control these. We didn't create ourselves. Christ initiated the process of our creation. He generated our creation. Read on.
Good. For ye are bought with a price.
Go ahead.
Therefore glorify the Most High in your body.
And you're supposed to be giving glory to the Most High through what?
Your body.
Your body, which is terrestrial. Read on.
And in your spirit.
And in your spirit, which is a portion of the Most High, which is celestial. Read on.
Which are the Most High.
And both of them belong to who?
The Most High.
Go ahead. So it said we're bought with what? A price, bro. Who paid the price?
Christ.
Christ paid the price, bro. We paid for it. That's why we should be operating in Christ unto good works.
Unto good works come.
All right? We understand that point? All right. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 1, verse 1.
It's powerful, bro.
Hebrews chapter 1, verse 1.
Get that.
As I see still?
Yeah, 1 and 1.
No, reading as I see it.
Yeah, read as you see it, bro. It's all good.
Hebrews chapter 1, verse 1. God, who at sundry times, God, who at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets.
So the Most High was speaking to us by who?
By the prophets.
By the prophets, right? The Most High was using the prophets to speak to us. He was communicating with us through the prophets, right? Read.
Verse 2. It says, hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir of all things.
He says, Christ is the heir of what?
All things.
Heir means one who is entitled to possess.
Wow.
One who is entitled to possess.
He's entitled.
Like when you get pulled over, the cop asks you, show me your title, license, registration. But you ain't got no registration.
Yeah,
usual. You ain't got no title. Meaning that means this car don't what? It don't belong to you. This ain't yours, man. Let me show me your title. It's yours. You bought it. Where's the title? Man, I bought it, but I ain't get a title. Then it ain't yours. We got to go to the pound. Yes, in my other glove compartment. I forgot it. I lost it. So, say it again.
No, I was going to ask. It's similar to like a deed in a house?
That's what a deed is. Deed to a house, title to a vehicle, same thing. It's the title. It's the title possessor. It's the title holder. Christ is the title holder to everything because he created everything. So he holds the title to everything. It's only fair that everything returned back to him because he created it. That's what he was praying for in St. John 17 when he said, restore unto me, Father, put me back where I was before the world ever was. Before this world ever existed. Put me back next to you. Because where I was at with you, I was there with you as a co-regent, a co-heir, a co-owner with the Father. And we also get an opportunity to be those co-heirs and those co-regents. those co-owners, co-title owners, co-applicants to heaven, to the kingdom. Read.
Hebrews chapter 1 verse 2. It says, hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the world.
And also he made what?
The world.
World or worlds?
Worlds.
Worlds, meaning Christ created more than what?
More than one world.
Christ created more than one world. It wasn't just the earth. Christ created worlds that we don't even see. He created dimensions, platforms, planes, universes, whatever you want to call it, that are invisible to the eye.
The subatomic world.
Yep.
Right in front of us, the small world.
The universe in itself, all created by Christ. So it's showing you that it's only right that Christ returned back to his glory. Genesis 1 and 25. Better yet, 26.
Genesis 1 and verse 26. And God said, let us make man in our image.
And so now we know it's not the Most High, but it's who?
Right.
It's Christ and the angels. It's the powers that said, let us. That's why it says, let us. Meaning what? More than one. Showing you it wasn't the Most High, it was Christ and the angels that did what?
Let us make man in our image.
Read on.
After our likeness.
It says, after our image and after our likeness. After our image and likeness. So, give me Genesis chapter 5 verse 3.
Genesis chapter 5.
Let me change this up real quick.
God.
Read that.
Genesis chapter 5 verse 3. And Adam lived 130 years.
Go ahead.
And begat a son in his own likeness.
It said, and Adam begat a son in his what?
Own likeness.
Likeness. Go ahead.
After his image.
After what?
His image.
Who was given that ability? Read Genesis 1 and 26 one more time and then come back. Somebody else read Genesis 1:26.
Crazy, bro.
And somebody else read what you read again, Genesis 5 and 3. So we understand what's going on right here.
God, Genesis 5
No,
and 3.
let him read Genesis 1:26.
Genesis chapter 1 verse 26. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth.
Before we finish all that, let's just get the first part.
Genesis chapter 1 verse 26. And God said, let us make man in our image.
Go ahead.
After our likeness.
It says after our likeness.
Plural.
So he said, let us make man after us, after our image, after our likeness. So now, Christ and the angels made man after their likeness, after his image. Christ.
A little lower than the angels.
Right. No, Christ was made a little, when he was on earth, he was made a little lower than the angels. That's in Hebrews chapter 2. Christ was, when Christ was on earth, he didn't hold the power as the creator of all things. He was lower than the angels. He didn't utilize his power. He didn't tap into any power. He was made vulnerable and subjected to the ills of mankind, to the wickedness of men.
When he was put on earth.
When he was on earth.
Okay.
All right? But during creation, Christ said, what I want man to look like is us. What I want man to think like is us. What I want the imagery or the look, the mentality, the mind frame, the thought process, the ability to yield power, to have dominion, to exercise dominion, I want to duplicate a replica of us, just like the Most High made a duplicate of himself in Christ. Christ was making the Most High made Christ, and Christ wanted to make a replica of himself in man. That was the goal. That was the goal in Adam. Just like Christ was the firstborn of his creature, of every creature, Christ was also trying to replicate and duplicate himself, but in man. Yes, sir.
Then what is this Trinity?
That's a whole different topic.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we want to get this point right here.
Okay. Okay.
So we understand what's going on. Now read Genesis chapter 5, verse 3.
Genesis.
Hold on. We'll read this and I'll let you get that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Because just in case we miss it, I don't want to miss this point. Read it.
Come. Genesis chapter 5, verse 3. And Adam lived 130 years, and begat a son in his own likeness.
And so Adam had the opportunity to do. Can we see what the Most High is doing? The Most High split himself, from the Most High created Christ. He created Christ from himself. Christ created man from himself. And now man is creating his sons and his daughters in what? In his likeness. So do we see what's going on? It's just like when you split a cell. When you have a cell, the cell splits into two. 2 to 4. 4 to 8. 8 to 16. It's splitting. What the Most High is doing is allowing himself to be split in Christ. His virtues. Christ split his virtues with who? Us. He made man in his image. So now that we're in the image of Christ, we're supposed to be creating our children in the image of Christ. Just like Christ is in the image of the Father. So man is given the opportunity to do the same thing that Christ was given the opportunity to do. All right? But something went wrong. That's what we're going to get to. We'll read that one more time. Genesis 5 and 3.
Genesis 5 and 3. And Adam lived 130 years, and begat a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Seth. And the days of Adam...
Now stop. That's it right there. Now let's go back to where you was at, Yahweh, in Genesis 1:26 and 27. Read that.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. And the Most High said, and God said, let us make man in our image.
Read on.
After our likeness.
So man is supposed to be just like who? Who created man? Christ. Man is supposed to operate just like Christ. We're supposed to operate, think like, do the will of, perform good works like, just like Christ. We're supposed to be a spitting image of Christ. Read on.
And let them have dominion.
And just like the Most High gave Christ dominion, Christ is allowing us to have dominion. But not over heaven, but where?
Over the fish of the sea.
But over the earth.
Right.
This was our opportunity to have power, rulership, and authority or control just like Christ has it in the celestial world. We were given that co-regency, co-rulership, but on a terrestrial form. Read.
And over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all earth, all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
Now how do we know this is true? Ecclesiastes chapter 17. Let's read this. Ecclesiasticus of the Apocrypha, chapter 17. Give me verse 1 through 4.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 17, verse 1. Whenever you're ready.
Read that.
The Lord created man of the earth.
It said the Lord did what?
Created man of the earth.
Read on.
And turned him into it again.
And when man dies, what does man go back to?
The earth.
He go back to the earth. Go ahead.
He gave them few days.
He didn't give us eternity. We don't have that long to get it right. We don't got that long. Time is too short.
Right.
We got to get it together now.
Race against time.
We are running against time. We're the ones restricted by time. The Most High sits in eternity. He's not. We are. Read on.
And a short time.
And it's what?
And a short time.
And it's short, by the way. We don't got that much time to resemble Christ. We don't have a lot of time to duplicate the works of Christ. To emulate the likeness of Christ. To imitate the behavior of Christ. To possess the virtues and the attributes of Christ. We don't got a lot of time. Read on.
And power also over the things therein. He endued them with strength by themselves and made them according to his image.
And he made us according to what?
To his image.
So the Most High made Christ according to his image, and Christ made man according to his image. So Christ always does the will of the Father. But do we? No, unfortunately not.
What were those angels made out of? Who's the image of the angels?
Christ, because Christ created the angels too.
Okay, because he was the first.
He was the first.
Okay.
Read on.
Come on, verse 4. And put the fear of man upon all flesh.
And the Most High, through Christ, gave us dominion, and that's why we're able to have zoos and SeaWorld and put Shamu in a damn big tank and make them do backflips and make dolphins jump through hoops and rings. So that dominion, the Most High gave us that dominion on the earth. Read on. A smaller version of power and authority resembling the dominion of Christ on a smaller level, on a terrestrial level. Read on.
Right.
And gave him dominion over beasts and fowls. You want verse 5?
No, that's it. So who got dominion? We do. We've been given that opportunity to rule for a short time, to emulate Christ for a short time on earth. All right?
Right.
So we understand that, right? Go to Second Ezra, chapter. Give me Second Ezra chapter 3, verse 4. This we go straight to the point, because this is a lot of verses in here. Let's go to second.
But this is tight work. We're really going into the majesty of Christ and the creativity of Christ.
Right. What opportunity he was given, and also what opportunity we were given, if we take advantage of it. Read that.
Second Ezra chapter 3, verse 4 reads, O Lord, who bears rule, thou spakest at the beginning, when thou didst plant the earth.
He said, you spoke from the beginning when you planted the earth. Read.
And that thyself alone, and commandest the people, and gavest a body unto Adam.
He said, and you gave to Adam what?
Gave us a body unto Adam.
You gave Adam a physical terrestrial form. You gave a body to Adam. Read on.
Without soul.
But he didn't have a soul. No soul, right? So, when did the Most High give? What did the Most High give Adam to give him a soul? Anybody know? Yes, you got it?
That's not. Is that it?
Yes, it is.
Wisdom?
It's wisdom of Solomon.
Without a soul, this would be like a beast, huh?
Chapter 7.
7:24. Somebody got it?
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 24.
Read that.
It says, for wisdom is more moving than any motion. She passeth and goeth through all things by reason of her pureness.
Read.
For she is the breath of the power of God.
For she is the what?
The breath of the power of God.
So, we're in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 24, and it's showing you that wisdom is the what?
Breath of the power of God.
So, let that go. Wisdom is the breath of the power of the Most High. Now go back to where we were in 2nd Ezra chapter 3 and read that verse 5.
Come. 2nd Ezra chapter 3, verse 5 reads, and gavest a body unto Adam without soul, which was the workmanship of thine hands, and didst breathe.
And once again, man is the workmanship of Christ. Read on.
And didst breath into him.
No, did is breathe.
Breathe into him the breath of life.
And what is the breath of life?
Wisdom.
Wisdom. The Most High, when the Most High said, "Let us make man in our image," what was the Most High giving man?
Wisdom.
His wisdom. The way he thinks, the way he does things. Not a caveman, bro. We're meant to be cavemen, animals. Read.
And he was made living before thee.
And this what made him alive. Is the fact that's what make every man alive. You could be a dead man without the Most High's wisdom. You're a dead man anyway.
And we had that last class last Wednesday. You went and explained that using the history of Cebius and said this man is what? This man is dead.
Dead, but he's dead to God.
To God.
Right.
Why? Because he doesn't have that what?
He don't got that wisdom.
That breath.
Right, because we know in Proverbs in 21 and 16 it says what? Yeah.
He that remains.
It's either 16 and 21 or 21 and 16.
I think it's 16.
Is it 16 and 21? It's 21 and 16.
Oh, man.
Read that.
Hate when that happens.
No, dog. No, I was like, no, gotta be that. Read that.
That's my favorite book, man.
Read that. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Proverbs chapter 21, verse 16.
Yeah.
The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding
Yeah.
shall remain in the congregation of the dead.
So there are people that lack understanding, and these the Bible are the congregation of the dead. What do you call a congregation of dead people?
Grave site.
Zombies.
Zombies.
These are zombies, bro. These are people that live off impulse only. They live off feelings and emotions only. They don't live off wisdom, utilizing wisdom. What the Most High gave Adam was an opportunity to exercise his wisdom, but on earth. And it should have bared the fruit of that. When we use wisdom, it duplicates and it expands and it blossoms what the Most High's intention is. Things double, things mature, things evolve. But when we don't use it, wisdom, everything we touch dies.
Yeah.
Everything we touch is destroyed. Because obviously we're not using what? Wisdom, bro. That's the difference that the Most High, or Christ, I should say, gave Adam. Was the opportunity to exercise wisdom and make everything he touched blossom and grow on earth. Yes, sir.
We're always starting relationships.
Yeah, exactly.
Not seeing them through.
Not seeing them through because it was destroyed before it's over. So back to we're in verse 6 now, in 2nd Ezra chapter 3.
2nd Ezra chapter 3 and verse 6 reads, And thou leadest him into paradise, which thy right hand had planted.
Which is the Garden of Eden. Read on.
Before ever the earth came forward.
Read on.
And unto him thou gavest commandment to love thy way.
And he said he gave Adam commandment to do what?
To love thy way.
So when Christ created Adam, both male and female created he them, right? And called their name Adam. So when Christ created the Adamites, he said, I want you to love my way. That was the purpose that Adam was supposed to execute on earth. Love the ways of Christ. Love the ways of his wisdom, which is the right way to do something. Read.
The correct application of knowledge.
Kind.
And unto him thou gavest commandment to love thy way, which he transgressed.
Which he did what?
Transgressed.
So we're supposed to be replicas of Christ as much as Christ is a replica of the Most High. But something went wrong. Man, through our error, stopped following what Christ told us to follow. It said man transgressed. Man sinned. Man made mistakes. Read on.
And immediately thou appointedest death in him and in his generation.
And this began the dying off of our time on earth. Then the Most High began to cut our time down shorter and shorter because of the initial transgression that was done because we were supposed to be reflecting Christ. So it's painful in life when you go opposite of your creation and your creator. When you go opposite of that, then your life starts to deteriorate.
In me you shall have peace, but in the world you shall have
You
tribulation.
should have tribulation. Because you're not following what the Creator laid down that we're supposed to be following, which is to love His way. Read on.
of whom came nations, tribes, people, and kindreds out of number.
21.
Verse 21. For the first Adam, bearing a wicked heart, transgressed.
And what was wrong with the first Adam?
He had a wicked heart.
He had a wicked heart. He transgressed. Read on.
And was overcome. And so be all they that are born of him.
So if I follow after the footsteps of Adam, and I stop loving the way of the Most High in Christ, then I'm going to make the same mistake. And I'm going to fall like Adam fell. Read on.
Thus infirmity was made permanent.
And that infirmity is made what?
Permanent.
Permanent. That's something that you got to fight. And that wickedness that's in your heart, you have to fight that on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. Because that little bit of wicked, evil grain of seed that Adam planted from the beginning exists in each and every one of us. And it's your job to fight that little bit of evil that's multiplied and have grown through every generation on earth. You got to fight that. You got to fight that little wickedness that's in you if you're going to follow after Christ. He said that little bit of that infirmity was made what?
Was made permanent. And the law also in the heart of the people with the malignity.
He said with the malignity of the root. Meaning what?
Cancer.
It's that evil seed that makes you sick. Read.
So that the good departed away.
It says so that the good that you do depart away. It's always standing in opposition to you.
Malignant, exerting pernicious influence. Dangerous to life.
Yep.
Wow. And by the way, all of this is lack of, or the descending of lack of wisdom, which is death.
Right. Which is the result of not utilizing wisdom is death. We were given the opportunity to be a reflection and to emulate Christ. Because we are his creation. We are the workmanship of Christ. We have a responsibility to duplicate the works of Christ on earth. And there is no excuse that, well, Adam messed me up.
And it comes around all in a full circle still. I'm on that cold stone. Wisdom is the breath of the power of God. And with lacking of it, you will die.
You remain in the congregation of the dead.
Of the dead.
That's right.
That's crazy.
So he's showing us how is the mistakes that Adam made. 2nd Ezra 1:28.
2nd Ezra chapter 1 and verse 28 reads, Thus saith the Almighty Lord, have I not prayed you?
It said, but if we listen to what the Most High said from the beginning, we can understand how the Most High feels. The Most High is telling us the way it was supposed to be when we were created. The Most High created Christ. Christ created man. Christ does the will of the Father. We were supposed to be doing the will of Christ. That's the way it was supposed to be. The Most High is confirming the same thing. Read on.
Thus saith the Almighty Lord, have I not prayed you as a father his son?
The Most High said, I've been praying for you just like a what?
Father his son.
I want you to be like father, like what?
Son.
I want you to be in my image. Like father, like son. Just like Christ is like his father. That's why Christ says he thought it not robbery to call himself equal to who?
To the Most High.
To the Most High. He says, because I do the will of the Most High, who sent me. He said, I don't think it's robbery to be equal to the Most High, because I do everything my Father tells me to do. And it wouldn't be robbery either if we followed after Christ the same way. But unfortunately, we don't. But that's what the Most High has been desiring from the beginning of time. He said, I've been wanting to call you my sons. I've been wanting to adopt you as my sons. I want to look at you the same way I look at my son Christ. I've been trying to bring you into the same fold. To bring you into this eternity. To experience this heavenly good. I'm trying to put you where my son is at.
But we can't even get to that heavenly good because we can't even see the good that he has to us every day.
We can't even get off the earth.
Come.
You got to get off this earth. You got to get our mind off the earth first. That's why Colossians chapter 3 verse 1 says what? Somebody hold that. Read Colossians 3:1 real quick.
Colossians chapter 3, verse 1.
Read that.
If ye then be risen in Christ.
It says that if you then be risen with Christ, meaning you put the works of the flesh to death, and you risen with Christ, a new man in Christ. Read on.
Seek those things which are above.
Your mind should be where?
On things above.
We can't get off the earth. We're too busy focused on money, women, cars, clothes, rent, bills. Who hating on me? Who I got a problem with? Who get under my skin? Who get on my nerves? We can't get off the earth. We're too occupied with terrestrial problems to even get to where we're supposed to be at. He said, if I'm truly risen with Christ, he says, set what?
It says, seek those things which are above.
It says, your mind should be looking at above the earth, outside this earth.
Wow.
Read on.
Where Christ sitteth.
And where who?
Where Christ sitteth.
You should be occupying your mind with wanting to be wherever Christ is at. That should control and dominate the majority of your thoughts. That's what should be resonating in your mind on a daily basis. How do I get to Christ? How do I sit next to the Most High in the kingdom? That's the dominant thought process of a man and a woman. That should be. Read on.
Where Christ sitteth on the right hand of God.
Read on.
Set your affection.
The things that are important to me. The things that I care about. I don't care about all this earthly stuff. Read on.
On things above.
Go ahead.
Not on things on the earth.
But the problem is we can't get off the earth. Our minds are too attached to the earth.
Right.
Wants, desires, lust. That's where our mind be at.
That's almost as bad as the rich man that came up to Jesus saying, hey, I did this, do that. What more can I do to get right with you? He tells him, hey, sell everything you got, drop everything you have, and follow me.
Can he do it?
And he walked off sad. And it's almost just like that. I mean,
No, it is like that. But we don't have the money that he had though. You know what I'm saying? But we still got problems though, and we still got too many earthly connections.
Right.
So let that go and go back to where we was at in Ezra.
Ezra chapter 1 and verse 28 reads, Thus said the Almighty Lord, Have I not praised you as a father his sons, as a mother her daughters, and a nurse her young babes, that ye will be my people?
He said, I've been wanting to make you my people all over again. Read on.
That ye will be my people, and I should be your power. That ye will be my children.
He said, I want you to be my children. That's why the Most High sent Christ to die for us, so he can adopt us back to him as his children, as the sons of God. Christ gave us that opportunity to be called the sons of God, even though we didn't deserve it. Read.
And I should be your father.
And I should be your what?
Father.
Read on.
I gather you together as a hen gathereth her chickens under her wings. But now, what shall I do unto you? I will cast you out from my face.
He said, I will do what?
Cast you out from my face.
He said, man, I don't want nothing to do with you. You're not going to inherit my kingdom. You're not going to be amongst my enthronement. You're not going to dwell with me in everlastingness. Because you won't let go of the world. You got too much of the world in you. That's man's biggest issue. You're disconnected. That's the problem we have. We're too disconnected from our Creator. We don't mirror our Creator. We don't duplicate or imitate our Creator. We don't emulate our Creator. We should be executing the attributes of Christ on earth. Ecclesiastes 5 and 2.
Ecclesiastes chapter 5
verse 2. Follow not thine own mind.
But what's our problem?
Follow not thy own mind.
What is our problem?
You follow our own mind.
That's what's gonna keep us on this damn earth, and not in the kingdom. Is when we doing too much thinking on our own, doing what the hell we want to do. That's our biggest problem. What is that called when you follow your own mind?
Right.
That's pride, bro. That's man's weakness. Pride, bro. When you start thinking for yourself and not thinking like Christ. When you start trying to dictate your goal, your coming and going, your whereabouts, your what terms you gonna live by, what conditions you gonna live under,
What you agree?
what rules you gonna live by, what you agree to or disagree to. That's man's number one issue is pride. That'll keep us out the kingdom.
Extreme arrogance. Come.
Yeah. Read it again.
God. Ecclesiastes 5, verse 2. Follow not thine own mind.
He said, follow not what?
Thine own mind.
That heart that you got, that mind you got, there's your biggest enemy. That's your biggest enemy is your thought process. That organ that sits between your shoulders. Read.
God. Follow not thine own mind and thy strength.
And your what?
Thy strength.
And the things you trust in. Your power.
Your talents. Your
talents, your abilities.
I'm smart.
I'm smart. I'm wise. I can do this. I can do it my way. Frank Sinatra.
Yeah. That's not just the truth.
But it's not gonna work, bro. Your way is not enough. That's man's problem. You do things your way. You don't do things according to your creator that created you. Read on.
To walk in the ways of thy heart.
It says to walk in the ways of your heart. This will keep us out the kingdom.
Wow.
If I'm gonna be in the kingdom, I gotta abandon my way of doing things. Because I gotta follow the one that created me. Read on.
And say not, who shall control me from my works?
Ain't nobody gonna control me. Nobody gonna tell me what to do. I do what I want to do. Bro, this is how you stay out the kingdom. Doing things your way. Read on.
For the Lord will surely revenge thy pride.
He says, for the Lord shall surely revenge what?
Thy pride.
That mind that we have, it's always our worst enemy. It will always deceive us. You got to throw away your thought process, bro. Start living after Christ. Like Christ, by Christ. For Christ. Read on.
Say not, I have sinned, and what harm hath happened unto me?
Read.
For the Lord is long suffering.
He said the Lord is patient, man. He's long suffering. Read on.
He will in no wise let thee go.
But he's not going to let you go. He give you time. He ain't going to let you go too long. Read on.
Concerning propitiation.
Propitiation, which is atonement for sin. Read on.
Be not without fear to add sin unto sin.
Read on.
And say not, his mercy is great.
Read on.
He will be pacified for the multitude of my sins.
Read on.
For mercy and wrath come from him.
So yes, mercy and wrath both come from the Most High. Mercy comes from the Most High, but wrath does also. Read.
And his indignation resteth upon sinners.
Read on.
Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord.
Don't waste no time going back to your Creator. Coming back to your Creator. Don't waste no time coming back to your Creator. None. Read on.
People waste a lot of time, bro.
Oh, bro, they kill time. Time killers.
Killers, huh?
They think they got all day. We don't. Read on.
And put not off from day to day.
And don't put off from day to day. If you about Christ, your mind should be on Christ. Like Christ, to imitate Christ. Read on.
For certainly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth.
Read on.
And in thy security thou shalt be destroyed.
And in your security, thou shalt... What is your security?
Wow.
Things you say. Yeah.
Things that you trust and that you have faith in, that you built. Because we build our own security. We build our own comfort. Ease of mind. Peace of mind. We build our own relaxation.
I'm not trying to be
We build our own fortress.
How are we to live functionally
After Christ?
without running around here maybe looking like John the Baptist?
Well, you don't have to. You don't have to be like John the Baptist. You got to be like Christ. There's
He
attributes.
was one of the closest
Yeah,
to
but
that.
there's attributes. There's attributes of Christ that there's attributes of Christ that the Most High want from you. For example, Romans 15:1. Read that.
Romans chapter 15 and verse 1. We then that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak.
It says, "Ye that are strong, that are whole, ought to bear what?
The infirmities of the weak.
To bear means to put up with, to deal with. You shouldn't want to disconnect yourself from who?
The weak.
The weak. What we do is we make sure that we're established, and then that's as far as our concern goes. As long as I get established, as long as I'm secure, as long as I'm comfortable, that's about as far as my thought goes.
So he used Christ for personal convenience.
Right. But if how should I live? This is how you should live. Ye that are strong, bear the infirmities of who?
Bear the infirmities of the weak.
Go ahead.
And not to please ourselves.
So how should a man live?
Not to please ourselves.
You should be concerned about other people more than yourself.
Shouldn't be about just your house, your car, your dog's food,
Your well-being.
your bird's food.
Right.
How I feel, what I want to
Your
do.
income,
Right.
your comfort, your security, your peace of mind. Read on.
Come on, verse 2. Let every one of us please his neighbor.
It says, let every one of us do what?
Please his neighbor.
Read on.
For his good to edification.
For his good to what?
For his good to edification.
Meaning, I should make sure that I'm looking to build up spiritually, mentally, intellectually. That's what to edify means. I'm concerned about the building up spiritually, morally, intellectually, those that are weak. I occupy my whole life building up weak people. That's how I should live.
According to the Bible.
Read on.
For even Christ pleased not himself.
Because who am I following after then?
Christ.
It says, for even Christ did what?
Pleased not himself, but as it is written, the reproaches of them that reproach thee fell on me.
All Paul is saying is my turn. That's all Paul is saying. Christ did it for us, so it's my turn to do it for my people. That's all Paul's saying right there. It's my turn now. It's my turn to suffer for the next generation. Just like Christ suffered for us.
But the reason why we don't is because we can't tolerate our people.
Because our people, we're too emotional. We lack temperance. We lack self-control. We lack self-restraint. We're too angry. We're too bitter.
Forbearance.
Yeah, we have no ability to forbear our people. We're unmerciful. We're vengeful.
Venomous.
Yeah. We're spiteful. All these things, bro. I got to get you back.
Dysfunctional.
We got too many issues. We can't even begin to really build up our people. We got to come out of ourselves first.
Right.
But then this is how we're supposed to be living, duplicating the works of Christ. All right. We're gonna have to finish this class. We're not even. I really want to do more, but we can't do more. Finish that. Go back to Ecclesiastes chapter 5 and finish that in verse 7.
Come. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 7. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord.
Make no what?
No tarrying.
Wasn't mean Terry. Like a dog or something like that? It wasn't me. Terry.
Don't be
Prolong.
Don't procrastinate.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, procrastinate,
Right.
stalling,
Yeah.
being idle, moseying along,
Yeah.
pretending that you got time, lying to yourself.
Taking my
Yeah, CP time.
That's the real CP time.
Be late to the kingdom.
Don't trick yourself. Allow.
Peter, man, who you know up in there? I know Peter them. Peter them. Yeah, my cousin them. Read.
Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day.
Read on.
For
Wow.
suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth,
Wow.
and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed.
And in your security, you shall be what?
Destroyed.
But you'll be destroyed by who? Now, we're going to tap into this a little bit before we cut the class. Ecclesiastes 39:28. Ecclesiastes chapter 39, verse 28.
Ecclesiastes 39, verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance.
So when the Most High created everything, and he created Christ, and through Christ created everything, Christ also created what?
Spirits for vengeance.
Christ also created spirits for what?
Vengeance.
Vengeance. Read.
Which in their fury lay on sore strokes.
And these spirits are what? Psalms 104:4. What are these spirits for vengeance? What are these spirits for vengeance? Psalms 104:4.
Psalms chapter 104,
Write it down.
verse 4.
Read that.
Psalms chapter 104, verse 4. Who maketh his angels
It says, the Most High made his angels what?
spirits.
He made his angels what?
Spirits.
So when we talk about there be spirits for vengeance, Christ created what?
His angels.
For what?
Spirits.
Spirits, read on.
His ministers.
And they're his ministers. They're his servants.
Ministers meaning
Minister.
department.
No, ministers means servant. That's what the word minister means.
Oh, okay.
It means a servant of.
Okay.
The angels are servants to who?
Christ.
Christ. Read on.
It says his ministers a flaming fire.
And his ministers can turn into a what?
A flaming fire.
So when those spirits that are created for vengeance, who are those spirits that are created for vengeance?
Angels.
Angels, bro. Those are
But
angels.
they're bad angels. Huh?
Well, let's find out. So let's no, they're good angels because they serve a good purpose, which is to execute the wrath and vengeance of the Most High. They're just bad unto the sinner that inherits those angels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? So let's go back to Ecclesiastes 39:28.
It's crazy, man.
There be spirits that are created for vengeance.
And we know that those spirits are what?
Angels.
Those are angels, bro. So when Christ created creation, when he created everything invisible and visible,
Yeah.
when he created those things that are immaterial and material, when Christ created the seen and the unseen, he also created angels that you have no idea are there, that occupy the earth, that can come up and down in the earth, that can have a target on your back
At his will.
at Christ's will. Read.
God, which in their fury lay on sore strokes.
Read on.
In the time of destruction.
And at the time of what?
Destruction.
And when the angels are called, and when they're unleashed, these spirits for vengeance,
Man, bro.
they do what?
They pour out their force.
They pour out their what?
Force.
They pour out their force. Read on.
And appease the wrath.
And they satisfy the wrath. Read on.
Of him that made them.
So when we look at creation, when we look at the Most High's creatures, we find out that the Most High created Christ. That's one of his creatures. We also know Christ created the angels. Those are the Most High's creatures. And we also know that man was also created by Christ, which are also the Most High's creatures.
Yeah.
So there are celestial or heavenly creatures created. There are also terrestrial creatures created. But when a man is out of order on earth, sometimes the Most High will use a celestial angelic creature to punish a terrestrial man.
To check him.
Do we understand that? The Most High will use to what we think are terrestrial elements, but they're not. These are angelic elements and creatures that are punishing us on earth.
Yeah.
Read.
That's facts, bro.
In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them.
Psalm 78:49. We know that, right? Psalm 78:49. Shalom, brothers. Shalom, sisters. Online. The water for watching.
Psalm 78 and 49. He
Read that.
cast upon them the fierceness of his anger.
So when the Most High Christ is angry with you, they throw somebody to you. They send somebody to you. They bring down somebody to you. Read.
He cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath and indignation and trouble.
How does the Most High deliver wrath, indignation, and trouble? Read.
By sending evil angels.
The Most High Christ do what?
By sending evil angels.
So they have these celestial, invisible creatures that Christ created that have a sole purpose and a sole job of delivering wrath, indignation, and trouble. They're in their angelic form, but they will affect you on the terrestrial platform and plane. Yes, sir.
The word evil, giving pain, unhappiness, and misery.
Well, we know what it is. Pain, unhappiness, and misery. That's what they bring by sending what?
By sending evil angels among them.
Go ahead.
He made a way to his anger.
So, hold on. I want to get this point real quick. Go back to Ecclesiastes, chapter 39. But this time I want you to read verse 27.
Ecclesiastes 39 and verse 27.
Come.
All these are for good to the godly.
They're good for who?
The godly.
These spirits will protect you if you're not rebellious and disobedient to the Father. Man, he'll make your enemies what?
Yes, you.
Yeah, he'll make his enemies your footstool, right? Most how use these adversarial forces, these injurious forces that create happiness and displeasure and wrath, that sting with their full power and angelic force. He'll use those entities for your benefit, and they'll sting your adversaries. Just like the Most High sent those same spiritual beings to attack Pharaoh. You read that, right?
Right.
We read how Pharaoh was attacked on a spiritual level, right? But it manifests on a physical level, right?
Pestilence and all that.
Pestilences, darkness, plagues, blood, water was turned to blood.
Right.
Those were angelic events. Those were spiritual events. And they were on the behalf of the righteous. But also, if the righteous put forth his hand to iniquity, right?
Right.
No harm shall come unto thee if you're doing things right.
Right.
But if a man reaches to iniquity and touches sin and evil, then he's now exposed to those same elements. His protection and hedge is absent or weakened. And these forces go through your hedge, which is you have spiritual angelic beings that protect you. You have angels of protection. But when you're out the spirit, or you're off, that hedge of angelic protection or spiritual protection is exposed. And now those forces on the outside are able to penetrate and touch your life. And your spirit, and your heart, and your mind, and your family, and wherever you are connected to that you care about. And your works.
So we understand that. Great point. Excellent. Well said. Read.
All these things are for good to the godly.
Yeah. You ain't got to worry about these evil angels if you what? If you godly. Read on.
So to the sinners, they are turned into evil.
So the things that you need for life, become evil to you if you're evil. But who the Most High use? Read on.
God, there be spirits that are created for vengeance.
These spirits are actually angels that come in different forms. Read on.
Which in their fury lay on sword strokes.
Go ahead.
In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made him.
Read on.
Fire.
So people think that fire is just when elements on earth become combustible. And that's just nature. That is not just nature. Even firefighters will tell you that fire is alive.
Wow.
And fire breathes. It breathes and inhales and exhales.
Disappear and reappear.
Yes. You watch Backdraft, which was a great movie. They tell you how the fire will skip rooms. You can read about this on multiple levels. It'll skip rooms and just burn up one room, and then the rest of the house still stands. A community could be on fire, and it could jump a house, save that one house, and burn up everything around it in 50-mile radius.
There's pictures of that.
And there's pictures of that.
So what is that? So what is that saying? That
That in
it's
that
like spiritual?
in that fire is who? It's angels, bro. Angels are operating through the fire.
And to prove that, you go look up 9/11 and go look at the faces and the demonic faces in the smoke, in the fire when the tower was collapsing. You'll see demonic faces. I had a cat I met in person, and he was a photographer, and some people he cared about got burnt up in this field. This crazy fire happened, and he showed me the pictures, and you can see demons in the fire. This is just taking a picture.
Wow.
But you can go look up 9/11, look up 9/11 Twin Towers, faces in the smoke or faces in the fire. You'll see there's spirits. Most High does be there's spirits, bro.
Hold on, David.
You gotta do it.
Hold on, man. I gotta do it. Check it out on YouTube right quick. It's on YouTube right now.
It's a whole lot of those faces, Zach. There was a lot of faces.
Hold on,
That's
hold
just
on.
one of them.
Hold on. You're a prophet. Watch, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Look. You see it? You see it online?
And I'm pretty sure y'all have read about the angels having a face of a lion, the face of a man, the face of a cow. You read about how the Most High created the angels. We look at the angels, we think they just look like people, and they look like, they look like a regular guy. They look like John, like Jim and Mike, and they look like Tyrone. You know the scriptures. You know they have beautiful looking angels and stuff. But they also have angels with 6 wings. They have multiple faces.
We ain't there yet, though. That's the next class. That's the next class.
Well, I'm just saying, you see a face, you're not gonna see you ain't gonna see Marcus's face. You're gonna see something you can't really explain.
I want you to read this right quick.
Yeah.
Angels in the fire.
The guy who took this picture says that the guy who took this picture, the photographer in New York that took that picture, says he's haunted by this picture that he took. The picture haunts him. He said that go ahead and read that, Dawiyat.
Satan in the smoke.
That's what that picture is called. Satan in the smoke. Read.
20 years after. Satan in the smoke was one of the first electronic viral images.
It was one of the first electronic viral images. Go ahead.
Sent over email before social media. The image appeared in millions of inboxes across the country. My website crashed from the millions of hits it received.
That's the guy who took the picture.
Is this 9/11?
Yes, that was 9/11. But that was the smoke and the image that was in the smoke. He said this guy said that he was haunted by this picture, and that's why he never released it. He said he never released it and he never sold it for money. It wasn't until years later that he was able to come to grips with what happened, and he ended up selling it for money. He said, but years he couldn't sell it for money and he couldn't sleep. The man that took this picture was tormented. Read.
The image was vilified as fake by major news organizations. I had to approach Olympus cameras and have them verify the authenticity of the digital capture. I had never sold the image to the public until now.
He said he never sold that image to the public to what?
Until now.
That man has been tormented by that picture that he took. But why do you see a face in that?
Wow. Well,
Is it by just a mystery? Is it haphazardly?
At the beginning of this class, we talked about power things we can't see.
Right. So he said he will send evil angels amongst them, right? Now, read that 29 again. Who's on 29?
God. Ecclesiastes 39 and verse 29. Fire and hail and famine and death. All these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents.
So he said fire. Hold on, I want to get to this part. So when he says fire, hail, what is that? That's weather. What people will think, that's just Mother Nature acting up. That's just global warming out of order. That's just the greenhouse effect. That's just climate change. We'll blame all these other things, these weird weather patterns, like the heat dome that sits over Texas right now.
Yeah.
That's been giving us triple digits. That's having the heat index going to 115, 118, 120 that we've been having this whole week, where a father and a son died in Texas just hiking.
Wow. What?
Pull it up. This week, father and a son died hiking in Texas.
That's crazy,
too damn hot.
bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is.
So what he's saying is fire, hail, famine, what people think is weird weather patterns, people don't understand who's behind, who created these things. Verse 24.
God, as his ways are plain unto the holy.
It said, but when you're holy and you're spiritual, he said, you know that it's not Mother Nature. If you're looking at things from a spiritual point of view, you know it's not El Nino. You know it's not hurricane season.
Not the Doppler 5. Right?
Yeah, it's not greenhouse gases.
Yeah.
Read it again.
God, Ecclesiastes 39 and 24. As his ways are plain unto the holy, so are they stumbling blocks unto the wicked.
It said, but they're what?
Stumbling blocks unto the wicked.
So now we need more solar power. We need to get away from making a carbon imprint.
Yeah.
We need to get away from a carbon imprint, and everybody's got to go into recycling. We got to stop giving away plastic bags at the grocery store.
Yeah, I pay for them now. 10 cents a bag.
They got 10 cents a bag, and they got to be reusable. We got to stop using gas emissions and coal emissions. He says these things are what?
Stumbling blocks to the wicked.
These are stumbling blocks to the wicked. They don't understand.
This is crazy in general, bro.
Oh man, it said the sister said the son died from the heat. The father died in a car crash on his way to get help for his son.
Wow.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
To say, I was
Come
like,
on, bro.
Usually somebody tries
Come
to
on,
go
bro.
get help.
Man, that's you can't make this up. But he said that he says it's plain to who?
Plain unto the holy.
But what?
So are they stumbling blocks unto the wicked.
But we think that's just a freak accident. We just think that's just what's going on in the atmosphere. There's an upper atmospheric draft that's causing the heat to just sit over Texas. There's got this weird heat dome from slow moving polar winds.
Father and son, 6-year-old son killed after lightning strike in Texas.
That was 7 days ago.
Oh.
So we think it's weather. This is not weather, bro. These are angels within the weather. These are angelic celestial beings operating in the weather. Another one I'm gonna put up right now. I'm gonna put this photo up real quick, and then I'm gonna play this audio and see if we can hear it.
There's also one about that.
And you can see this. You can see this too. Hold on. Let me.
What is this, huh?
Yeah, y'all see what that is?
Come on, bro.
Hold on. Let me play it. Let me play it so we can hear it. That's the tornado.
An ancient Native American legend speaks of the dead man walking.
What is this picture called? What is this picture called online?
The dead man walking.
Check out this photo online. You see it online. It's called the what? It's called the dead man walking what? Tornado. This is when you have a multi-vortex tornado, but it doesn't just look like a tornado. When you actually see, this is just a still photo, but when you actually play the video shows that those what look like vortexes, which are vortexes, those vortexes start to walk and they start to move, and it looks like somebody's holding a sickle
No way.
Like the Grim Reaper. You know the whole
Scythe or sickle?
yes, a scythe or a sickle, same thing. You see what the Grim Reaper holds? They say that.
Oh, I see it.
You see what the Grim Reaper holds in his hand, like a sickle or a scythe. He said, when you see this thing walking, this video that I'm about to play tells you that the Native Americans say that when you see the dead man walking, which is this type of tornado, the Native Americans say, prepare yourself for death. All right, let me go.
Almost look like something he's carrying.
Can you play? Can you put this up Can you put this up, Adam, by the speaker right here? I want to.
By the speakers, by the camera, at least they hear.
So so people online can hear it also. We could always go back to it on our own. Oh no, let's quiet down because I want the class that's online to hear this too. They can pull up the video.
An ancient Native American legend speaks of the dead man walking. If you see him in a tornado, you are about to die. The townsfolk of Gerald has now seen the origins of a multi-vortex tornado approaching. The dead man has just walked into Gerald.
So that when that tornado hit Gerald, Texas, 27 people lost their life, and they said they saw that image what the Native Americans called the dead man walking. So is it what they call it the dead man walking because they say when you see it, prepare yourself to die. But what does it look like is in that tornado? These are angels, man. To the godly, it's easy to see. He said, but to the wicked, that's a stumbling block. They can't put two and two. They think that's weird. Oh my God, this weird weather. It's just we gotta get away from plastic bags and carbon emissions. We gotta go to Teslas. Oh man, we gotta go to rechargeable vehicles. He says a stumbling block to the wicked, but not to those that have their spiritual eye open. If you got your spiritual eye open, you understand what this is. These are spirits that was created by Christ as part of creation to revenge disobedience and rebellion. Read verse 29.
God, Ecclesiastes 39 and verse 29. Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance.
First Chronicles 21:15.
First Chronicles chapter 21 and verse 15. Whenever you're ready.
Ready.
And God sent an angel unto Jerusalem to destroy it.
And what does God do?
Sent an angel unto Jerusalem to destroy it.
Isn't Jerusalem the holy city?
God.
The Most High don't care where it goes. If men are out of order, he'll send the angel anywhere. No place is safe. Even the holy city got an angel sent to it. For what purpose? For a message? Read.
And as he was destroying.
For what purpose?
And as he was destroying, the Lord beheld, and he repented him of the evil.
So the Most High, after that angel unleashed his fury, the Most High said, okay, that's enough.
Oh, I feel better now.
I feel better. I'm satisfied now. I'm okay now.
That means he was angry.
I'm okay now. All is well now. All is peaceful. Job 37 and 9.
That's amazing, bro.
Job chapter 37 verse 9. Read that.
Come. Job chapter 37 and verse 9 reads.
Read on down. It's 10:30.
Out of the south cometh the whirlwind, and cold out of the north.
South, we get hurricanes from the south. They come off the west coast of Africa and they hit America. Read.
Out of the south cometh the whirlwind, and cold out of the north.
And we've had freezes that were unlikely
Yeah.
and out of the norm, where millions of people lost power. They're saying right now in Texas that millions of people lost power already because it's overconsumption of electricity to run these ACs. Read.
By the breath of the Most High, frost is given.
Go ahead. Who's controlling the frost?
The Most High.
No, is it Mother Nature?
The Most High.
No, it's the Most High, man. Read on.
And the breath of the waters is strengthened.
Read.
Also by watering, he wearieth the thick cloud.
Read.
He scattereth his bright cloud, and it is turned around about by his counsel.
It says the Most High scatters the bright cloud, and it turneth about by what?
About by his counsels.
Who's in control of the clouds? The Most High is.
My God.
The clouds are following the counsels,
They're following counsel.
the instruction of the Most High. And these are not regular clouds. These are not clouds. These are angels that inherit the clouds. But to the godly, it's easy to see. It's plain. But to the wicked, that's a stumbling block. I was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. It was just a hot day. I didn't know what was coming. I thought it was just a light rain. He said all the storms are in control by his counsels. The Most High has the weather as his remote control because those are his spirits in operation. We understand that. Go back to Ecclesiastes chapter 39, verse 29.
Ecclesiastes 39, verse 29. Fire and hail and famine and death, all these are created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts.
He said what?
Teeth of wild beasts.
Teeth of wild beasts. What else?
And scorpions.
What else?
And scorpions.
Read.
Serpents. And the sword. Punishing the
So
wicked.
stop. Hold this and read Jeremiah 5 and 6 real quick.
Wow, that explains the people getting killed by animals.
Yes. When animals attack.
Wow.
These are spirits. These are angels that inherit those spirits and operate those spirits that's in those animals to make them animals turn. Read.
Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 6. Wherefore a lion out of the forest shall slay them,
Go ahead.
and a wolf out of the evenings shall spoil them.
So he said a lion win.
A lion out of the forest shall slay them,
What else?
and a wolf out of the evenings shall spoil them.
What else?
A leopard shall watch over their cities. Every one that goeth out thence shall be torn in pieces.
So who put these animals on guard? Who put these animals on watch? The Most High does. The Most High got the animals on standby, waiting for somebody to be out of order. All right. So we understand that. So we understand that these animals, it's really the angels operating those animals. Read on. Finish that.
It says, because their transgressions are many.
So when the Most High said their transgressions start adding up, he starts letting loose these spirits in these animals. Read on.
And their backslidings are increased.
Damn. Let that go. Finish this up and back to Ecclesiastes 39, verse 30.
God, Ecclesiastes 39, verse 30. Teeth of wild beasts, and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction.
Go ahead.
They shall rejoice in his commandments.
It says these angels shall, whether it be weather or animal attacks, he said they shall rejoice. They're excited to execute the Most High's wrath. They shall rejoice. Go ahead.
And they shall be ready upon earth.
It says they're what?
Ready upon earth.
They're ready upon earth. Go ahead.
When need is.
So when are they needed?
They're on standby.
They don't stand by. They don't stand by for somebody to get out of order, for somebody to transgress and backslide. They don't stand by. And who put these angels on standby? Christ did. Because he created them too. There's nothing on earth, visible or invisible, whether it's thrones, principalities, or powers, that Christ didn't create. He created all of it.
And guess what? There was 3 boys up in the Dominican Republic on the beach. and they're in the rocks. I don't know if y'all heard about it, and the water swept them off into the ocean, and they calculated this to be the first time that a group of great whites attacked these kids. One got away, and he didn't get away. I guess the Lord let him go, but they're flipping him up. They're flipping these kids up in the air, and one jumped up while he was in the air and chopped them in half. And they ate the rest of them.
Here in San Antonio, three little 13-year-old boys thought it'd be fun to climb the wall of the zoo.
Wow.
And at night.
At night.
At night.
You gotta be,
At night. You can read this. They thought it was fun. This was back about 25 years ago. They thought it was fun to just jump the wall and start hopping from animal cage to animal cage.
You want to be bad, huh?
Yeah, they thought it was fun. 13-year-old, 14-year-old, 11-year-old, and then they end up jumping into the polar bear exhibit.
Oh,
no way. It's the worst one, bro.
And one got away. Two got away. One didn't. They found a little boy mauled up, chewed up, ate up in the morning. Look it up. But that's right here in San Antonio. But with the Most High, he said he got them spirits, Christ got them spirits on reserve. But that's for those that don't understand. Now let's to finish this topic, because we got to finish. There's still more parts, because we got the celestial aspect. We got the terrestrial creatures. Now next week we'll go into the mythical creatures of the Bible. We're going to discuss, that's next week. That's part 2. All right, so last verse. 1 John 3, 1 and 2.
First John chapter 3, verse 1. Verse 1 answer. Behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us.
It says, look at the love that the Most High gave us, right? Read on.
That we should be called the sons of God.
And we read it earlier. That we should be called what?
The sons of God.
That we should be called the sons of God. Look at this honor. Christ died so we could return back as part of his creation, which is to stand right next to him, like the Most High intended us to. But through our transgressions and sins, we're the ones who, through that malignity of the root, that evil heart that's in us, denied ourselves a way back to the Father. Through the negative that's in us. But if it wasn't for Christ, because it was all for Christ, we're his creation. We're his workmanship. So if it wasn't for Christ, that's why all glory go to Christ. All thanks be to Christ.
Yeah.
All praise be to Christ. Because if he didn't die, we'd be dead. Right now as we speak. So it's through him that give us this second opportunity to be adopted back through the Most High. Read.
Therefore the world knoweth us not.
It says, therefore the world what?
Knoweth us not.
Go ahead.
Because it knew him not.
Go ahead.
Beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be. But we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is.
Read on.
And every man that hath this hope in him purifieth himself.
It says, every man that hath this hope in him does what?
Purifieth himself.
Purifieth himself. If you want, this is what you think about, this is what you meditate on, being with Christ. This is what occupies the majority of your thought process. Being accepted by the Most High in Christ. Imitating the life of Christ. Read.
Even as he is pure.
Go ahead.
Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law.
Read.
For sin is the transgression of the law.
Read.
And ye know that he was manifested to take away our sins.
And the whole purpose of Christ dying was to take away our what?
Our sins.
So we can get back to who? To him. Read.
And in him is no sin.
And we know in him is no sin. Read on.
Whosoever abideth in him sinneth not. Whosoever sinneth hath not seen him, neither known him. Little children, let no man deceive you. He that doeth righteousness is righteous, even as he is righteous.
So our best bet is to execute duplicate and mirror the righteousness of Christ and the life of Christ, so we can be returned back to the one that created us. All right. Part 2 next week is about those mythical creatures that you read in the Bible that was also created by Christ. All right. With that, we're going to say shalom, and we'll see you on Friday. All right. Shalom, everybody, for watching. Y'all have a good night.